Chapter 281. She deleted the number, threw her phone on the bedside table, and lay on the bed. She was too tired and fell asleep without taking a shower. That night, she had a dream. She dreamt that she was sitting on a boat, surrounded by a lake that she could not see the edge of. The surface of the lake was sparkling, reflecting her face. Gu Lingqing was also sitting on the boat. He leaned over, kissed her, took off her clothes, and did shameful things with her. When she felt comfortable, Gu Lingqing's face turned into Su Jieran's. She was shocked and wanted to escape in a panic. Su Jieran held her waist, not letting her go, and forced himself on her. She kicked him away in fear. She had nowhere to retreat, and jumped into the lake. At the bottom of the lake, she saw a woman who was also naked. She swam towards her. It was a face that looked exactly like hers, and it was tearful. Her arm tightened. Gu Lingqing held her hand and swam upwards. She turned around. The woman had already stood up and was waving at her. Baiye's heart tightened. She suddenly woke up and sat up. She was covered in sweat. "Did you have a nightmare?" Su Jieran asked. Baiye was surprised to see him. Her eyes were wide open, and her eyelashes were trembling. Perhaps it was because she had just woken up, and her mind was not very clear yet. She fell back onto the bed and closed her eyes. Su Jieran chuckled. "Baiye, you're quite cute sometimes." Baiye heard Su Jieran's voice clearly. She was sure that he was really in her room. She opened her eyes again. "When did you get here?" "I just came in for a minute." Su Jieran bent his arm and looked at the watch on it. Baiye also grabbed the phone on the bedside table. She looked at the time. It was already 6:20 in the morning. "Have breakfast with me. I have to go back and rest for a while after eating." Su Jieran used a declarative sentence. Baiye did not want to argue with him. It would be more troublesome if he stayed here to sleep. "I'm going to wash up," Baiye said. She entered the bathroom, locked the door and took a shower. She changed into yesterday's clothes and brushed her teeth. It seemed like she should buy some clothes. It took her 15 minutes to get out of the bathroom. "Let's go." Su Jieran walked in front of her. Baiye followed behind him, keeping a distance of 1 meter between them. "Did you call Gu Lingqing and ask him to let me go?" Su Jieran suddenly asked. "No, why do you ask?" Baiye lowered her eyes. "It's strange that he suddenly let me go. Could it be that he doesn't want you to treat me to seafood?" The corners of Su Jieran's mouth twitched. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Baiye dotingly. Baiye's head was still lowered as he thought about the dream he had. He was a little flustered. Su Jieran waved his hand in front of her. "What are you daydreaming about? What are you thinking about? Think about the dream you had just now." Some scientists who study dreams say that dreams can reflect the condition of the body, which is also due to the influence of life and environment. Sometimes dreams can give people enlightenment, Baiye said thoughtfully. "What kind of dream did you have? Tell me about it. Perhaps I can answer it for you," Su Jieran said with a smile. Baiye gave him a strange look. She would never tell him about her dream. "You're not an expert. Let's go and have breakfast. I'll go buy some clothes after that." "Do you need me to accompany you?" Su Jieran asked. Baiye shook his head. "I can do it alone." Su Jieran took out a card from his wallet and handed it to Baiye. "The password is 333520. Baiye pushed his hand away. "I have money. I'm not used to using other people's." Su Jieran knew that if she said she didn't need it, she wouldn't use his. 3 years ago, Baiye was so poor. Now that Baiye was rich, it was even more so. "Okay then, I'll treat you to a movie tonight." He put his arm around her waist and walked into the elevator with her. Baiye looked at her reflection on the elevator. Because she hated her hypocritical self, she lowered her eyes. As soon as they got out of the elevator, Su Jieran's phone rang. He saw that it was Xing Jinyan's caller ID. He answered the call and pressed the speaker button. "What's wrong?" "Su Jieran, my father was taken away by the discipline inspection team early in the morning. Did you do it?" Xing Jinyan complained angrily. "I'm not in charge of discipline inspection. I don't have that much power. You said yesterday that my father didn't have a chance. If it wasn't you, who else could it be?" Xing Jinyan was very agitated. "If your father didn't do anything wrong, he'll be innocent. It doesn't matter if he's taken away by the discipline inspection team. He'll be released. If he's done all kinds of evil and abused his power for personal gain, it's normal that he can't be released. I'm going to have breakfast now. I don't have time to listen to your complaints. Bye. Soo-jiran hung up. He hung up the phone. You're quite fast, Baya said in a low voice. Because of you, I'm already 3 years late. The information I have is enough to sentence Xing Bachwan and Xing Jinyan to death. But I promised to give him to you for a month, so I'll play slowly, Soo-jiran explained and opened the door of the front passenger seat. Baya got into the car and put on her seatbelt. Soo-jiran was quite scary. The power and influence behind him were not inferior to Gu Lingqing's. For the sake of Gu Lingqing's safety, she should actually let Soo-jiran see her determination towards Gu Lingqing. Soo-jiran got into the driver's seat and drove Baya to have breakfast. The sun shone on her snow-white face, making it even more dazzling. Soo-jiran held her hand, enjoying the silence and the space with her around. Even though they did not speak, he could feel the sweetness in the air. Baya's phone rang. She was shocked and took it out of her bag. It was Chung Jinrong's. She was surprised that Chung Jinrong would call at this time. She answered the phone and greeted politely. Good morning. Baya, are you still treating Governor Lu's son? Chung Jinrong asked worriedly. That day, because of the incident with Lu Shuang, she left without saying goodbye to Chung Jinrong. She was a little apologetic. Well, I have to go back to City A. Governor Lu interfered with my treatment process, so my contract with him has been terminated. What's wrong? That's good. It shouldn't involve you. Chung Jinrong breathed a sigh of relief. What happened? Baya had a bad feeling. Do you still remember that Lu Xingzhou's son raped the campus belle? I know. Lu Xingzhou's family should have used money to deal with this matter. What's wrong? Did something similar happen? This morning, the campus belle's family was killed. Now the police are investigating. I suspect that it was done by that kid, so I'm worried about your situation, Chung Jinrong explained. Baya's eyes dimmed. Becoming a demon with a single thought, becoming a Buddha with a single thought. Most of the time, a child's worldview was led by their parents. Lu Biao was originally a very intelligent child. Unfortunately, his outlook on life was distorted by his parents. She could do nothing about it. Chapter 282. Baya hung up the phone and was still deep in thought. What's wrong? Soo-jiran asked and held her cold hand. Baya shook her head. I heard some shocking news, so I'm a little emotional. You always think too much and keep everything in your heart. It's easy to take things too hard. Xiaoya, you should make more friends, Soo-jiran suggested. The friendship between gentlemen is as indifferent as water. Those who are blacklisted on QQ are usually those who have a good chat with them and are treated as friends. Those who don't talk much can stay safely. Sometimes, friends are scarier than enemies. I'd rather have no friends than have a bad one, Baya retorted. Soo-jiran nodded. You're right. It's enough for you to have me. Baya laughed and looked out of the window. Why did he feel that her laughter made him feel especially uncomfortable? We've arrived at the place where we're eating, Soo-jiran reminded them and stopped the car at the entrance. Baya recognized the Hummer next to them. It seemed to be Gu Lingqing's. He frowned. Soo-jiran would feel uncomfortable if he didn't do something every day, right? Gu Lingqing and Lieutenant Colonel Song walked out from the car. Soo-jiran curled the corner of his mouth. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to bump into you while having breakfast. When did City A become so small? Gu Lingqing's cold gaze swept across Soo-jiran's charming face. Whether or not we can bump into each other depends on whether CEO Su has a heart or not. If he has a heart, we can bump into each other anytime and anywhere. If we're talking about a heart, how can I compare to you, Chief Gu? I'm puzzled. When your people saw me having sex with Baya and reported it to you, did you feel better? Soo-jiran said sarcastically. It's my own business whether I'm happy or not. Are you afraid of being stared at because you've done too many bad things? Gu Lingqing asked back. If I had done a lot of bad things, I wouldn't be safe and sound now. But Chief Gu, you have to be careful with your words and actions. You were lucky last time, But Lady Luck won't always be on your side. To be exact, Sujiran paused, put his arm around Baiya's waist and pulled her. The goddess is already standing by my side. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of her mouth and looked at Sujiran with a secretive look. Then you should cherish your goddess. I will also cherish my goddess. I'm getting married soon. I'll write the wedding invitation and send it to you. Baiya was flabbergasted. Waves flowed through her calm eyes as she looked at Gu Lingqing in astonishment. Sujiran was also shocked and blurted out. You're getting married? With whom? I don't need to report to you who I'm marrying. You're on your own. Gu Lingqing said arrogantly and passed by them. Lieutenant Colonel Song hurriedly opened the door of the back seat. Gu Lingqing sat in the car expressionlessly and didn't even look at Baiya. Baiya's back was stiff and her head was buzzing. She didn't look back either. Gu Lingqing's car passed by them again and sped away. Baiya stared at Gu Lingqing's car as it left. She had always hoped that Gu Lingqing could forget her, find a suitable woman to marry and have children with, and live happily ever after. He was finally going to marry another woman and stop pestering her. Her heart hurt instead. It hurt so much that she felt as if there were 3 mountains pressing on her. It was so heavy that she couldn't even breathe. However, she had to pretend that her heart didn't hurt. Her palms became colder. No wonder he suddenly let me go. It turns out that he has a new lover. Sujiran guessed and looked at Baiya. Let's go in for breakfast. I'm very hungry, Baiya said lightly. I've reserved room 203, Sujiran said. They entered the room. Baiya lowered her head and flipped through the menu casually. In fact, she couldn't pay attention to a word. Her mind was still recalling what Gu Lingqing said. I'm getting married soon. In the world, how many people who loved each other could get together? After marriage and time, how many people who loved each other continued to love each other? She had seen too many wounds of love. Because it was too tiring and too lonely to live. Perhaps after the parents died, and the children started a new family, they would realize that they were the loneliest person in the world. She envied penguins. Penguins were social animals. They would only have one partner in their lifetime. Even if their partner died, they would not remarry. Xiaoya, Xiaoya, Xiaoya. When Baiya heard Sujiran calling her, she raised her head and looked at Sujiran. He narrowed his eyes and looked at her coldly. Are you sad? I've called you many times, but you can't hear me. Baiya's eyes were misty. Her eyes were red, but her tone was calm and light. She was neither humble nor arrogant, and there was no fluctuation of emotion. If I tell you now that I'm not sad, you won't believe me. In fact, I'm really sad. Sujiran's face turned pale. You're sad that Gu Lingqing is getting married. I'm sad about myself. When I loved you, you wantonly hurt me. When I fell in love with Gu Lingqing, he completely forgot about me. Now. Baiya paused and lowered her eyes. Tears flowed down. Perhaps, I shouldn't have survived. What nonsense are you talking about? Sujiran was agitated. He held Baiya's wrist, and his eyes were red. He warned, listen carefully, I won't allow it. If you dare to commit suicide, I swear that I will destroy everyone, things you care about, including your mother, Gu Lingqing and Lu Shuang. Baiya looked at her wrist. He was obviously very strong, but she didn't feel any pain at all. Do you think I still care about them now? You care about them, Sujiran said with certainty. Baiya raised the corner of her mouth and tasted her salty tears. Yes, she still cared about them. Now that he was still alive, it was a responsibility. The hardships, grievances, and agitation of life would make her give up, be willful, and be impulsive. But after thinking it through, she still had a lot of things to do. Living was easy to die. Dead, but could never come back to life. I want to go to the washroom. Baiya said softly. It was so soft, like the soft language of Wunong. It sounded like a request. Sujiran turned his face away and nodded. Baiya stood up and walked quickly to the washroom. She squatted in the last cubicle of the washroom and cried happily. She finally used her coldness, willfulness, and heartlessness to force away the man who loved her the most, and she also loved the most. From now on, he went his own way, and she went hers. They would never have anything to do with each other again. She was happy for him, but also sad for herself. So, after one last cry, Baya could live like a machine. Chapter 283. She cried for more than 10 minutes. Her face was covered with tears and snot. Her eyes were red and swollen. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Her mind was blank. Then she came out of the toilet, walked to the mirror, and washed her face. He raised his head and looked at himself in the mirror. Taking a deep breath, he pressed his finger on the mirror and caressed Baya's face. He said softly, "Don't be sad. Gulingqing is gone. I will always be by your side and protect you. From today onwards, no one will be able to hurt you." The cleaner came in and looked at Baya with a weird expression. Baya glanced at the cleaner, straightened her back, and walked out of the restroom. The moment the door closed, she heard the cleaner say, "Lunatic." Her whole body trembled, and her hands were trembling. She pushed the door open, and her sharp eyes swept over the cleaner. She snapped, "What did you say?" Seeing that Baya was angry, the cleaner immediately corrected herself. "I didn't say anything. What's wrong?" "If I hear you again, I'll sue you for slander," warned Baya. He turned around and walked towards room 203. Su Jiran's breakfast was served, but he didn't eat it. He was playing with his phone when he saw Baya enter. He stared at her eyes. "You're crying. Don't worry about it. It's just a way of venting my emotions. I'll be fine after I'm done crying. I've also recognized the reality." Baya pulled out a chair and sat across from Su Jiran. The corners of Su Jiran's mouth curled up slightly. He put his phone aside and asked, "What reality have you realized?" "If I want to live a good life in the future, you will be my God. I will die against God and live according to God," Baya said expressionlessly. Su Jiran was suspicious. "Are you telling the truth?" "It's true. It can't be fake. Even if it's fake, it can't be real. Hurry up and eat your breakfast. After that, go back and have a good rest. We still have to fight side by side in the future," Baya said solemnly. Su Jiran clasped her hand and held it tightly between her fingers. He liked the phrase "fight side by side." "Xiaoya, have you ever thought that after going through so many ups and downs, we are still together now? Perhaps we are destined to be together?" Su Jiran said softly. Baya didn't deny it. His lips curled up. "Perhaps. No one knows what the road ahead will be like. Cherish it as you go." "I will cherish you. I swear, as long as you never leave me, I will never leave you," Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. When two people loved each other, vows were sweet. If they were not in love with each other, the vow would become a burden. After breakfast, Su Jiran went back, and she went to the mall to buy clothes. When she arrived at the shopping mall, it was not open yet. She sat on a wooden bench by the roadside and looked at the various people and vehicles passing by. The sun was just right, and when it shone on her, she felt a little sleepy. Mississippi, a young man came over on a skateboard and handed a lipstick to Baya. "Can I trouble you to print a lipstick print on my clothes?" Baya didn't take the lipstick from him. She frowned slightly. "You should be in school at this time, right?" The young man had a strange look on his face. "Sorry to trouble you. If you agree, I'll give you the lipstick." Baya looked at him. Her eyes flickered, and she looked to the right from time to time. There were two other young men watching from the right. "Did you make a bet with your friends?" Baya guessed. The young man smiled shyly. "They all said that you're good-looking. They bet $100 with me." "Do you think that good-looking girls will like kids who play truant?" Baya asked in return. The young man didn't say anything. Knowledge can change a person's life. It can increase one's charm and make one more cultured and elegant. Do you want to marry a beautiful girl when you grow up? Or do you want to marry an average girl and be despised by your wife? Baya said with a smile. She took out the lipstick from her bag and applied it. She licked her lips. The young master looked at Baya with hope. He was a little emotional. "I can leave a lipstick mark on your clothes. The condition is that you have to go back to school for lessons. Do you agree to go back to school?" Baya asked. Yes, the young master said immediately. Baya left a lipstick mark on the young master's clothes. The young master rode his skateboard away excitedly. Baya looked at the three young masters leaving and smiled elegantly. The world of children was really pure and simple. They were satisfied with just a lipstick mark on their clothes. They didn't think much and hoped for little. The shopping mall opened. Baya went in and bought 3 sets of clothes, including her underwear. After she was done, she took a taxi back to the hotel. She took a shower and washed her new underwear. She used an iron to iron them dry. The rest were sent to be cleaned. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Zhou Hailan. She remembered that Zhou Hailan had asked her to meet at noon last night. She really didn't think that there was any need to meet Zhou Hailan. She didn't answer and hung up. The phone rang again. She saw that it was still Zhou Hailan and answered. "What's the matter?" "I'm already in room 302 of Ziyuan Tower. When are you coming?" Zhou Hailan asked. "I'm not coming. I'm sorry. I have something for you. Please come. Otherwise, I won't leave here. 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months. I'll wait for you until you come," Zhou Hailan said firmly. Baya frowned. If she didn't go, it would be too unreasonable. "I'll come in an hour," Baya said in a low voice. She changed into new clothes without makeup and went to room 302 of Ziyuan Tower. In addition to Zhou Hailan, there was a 5 or 6-year-old child in the room. She looked a bit like Zhou Hailan. She guessed that she was the child of Zhou Hailan and Gu Lingqing. "Why are you looking for me?" Baya asked directly. Zhou Hailan held Baya's hand. "You're finally willing to see me. That's great. Here's the thing. Actually, Gu Lingqing and I aren't married at all. We just have an inexplicable agreement." Baya was silent and didn't answer. Zhou Hailan continued. "Gu Lingqing doesn't want to marry me. I know that you're the only one in his heart. So I agree to void the agreement. However, Gu Lingqing gave me 3 houses under his name and 1.08 million in cash. I can't take these things. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. He must have his reasons for doing that. Since he gave it to you, you should take it. This is what you and your child deserve," Baya said in a low voice. "Wait a minute. Wait for me." Zhou Hailan walked out of the room without saying anything. Baya looked at the child. If her child hadn't died, he would be about the same age as him. Without Gu Lingqing, Zhou Hailan at least had this child. She wouldn't feel lonely anymore. Chapter 284. Don't go with strangers. I'm not familiar with you. You can ask your mom to bring you to the place you want to go, Baya said gently as she rubbed the child's head. My mom can't know about that place. Otherwise, I'll be taken away. But I'm going to get something very important. Auntie, I trust you. Can you please help me? Otherwise, I'll die, the child pleaded. Where are you going? What are you going to get? Baya asked defensively. It's a map that I hid in the past. I have to go there to know exactly where it's buried. I've made a mark, the child said. Baya frowned and scrutinized the child. What map? It's about the base. I'm going to get it from my dad, the child said. Baya's lips twitched. She could tell that the child's logic was wrong. Then you should look for your dad directly and tell him about the map, not me. Baya rejected him tactfully. The child was angry. Are you going to take me or not? Why can't your mom know about the base's map? Why would you be taken away after your mom found out? Why will you die if I don't help you? Baya asked a few questions in a row. The child couldn't come up with any good excuses. He picked up the ashtray on the table and hit his head hard. Blood flowed out. Baya didn't move. She narrowed her eyes and looked at him. He threw the ashtray at Baya's feet, ran out of the room, and shouted, She hit me, Mom. She hit me. She hit me. Baya stood at the door of the private room and watched the child run out. She knew that it was a trap in front of her. Why would she chase after him? She wouldn't foolishly stay there and wait for Zhou Hailan to come back and question her. Gu Lingqing was going to marry someone else soon. This person wasn't her, nor was it Zhou Hailan. There was no point in Zhou Hailan fighting with her. Moreover, she didn't have the energy to complicate matters. Baya left from the back door and walked back to the hotel. Half an hour later, she had just returned to her hotel room when her phone rang. She saw that it was from Zhou Hailan and picked up the call. Baya, are you guys not in the private room anymore? I came back to look for you, but no one was there. Your son asked me to take him to a place. Do you know where that place is? Baya asked. What? A place? Where? Zhou Heilan's tone was filled with confusion. He said that mother can't know about that place. If mother knows, he will be taken away and will die. I've already told Gu Lingqing about this, Baya said coldly. What does that mean? Did Xiao Xian really say that? Where is he now? Zhou Heilan asked. He smashed his head with an ashtray and rushed out of the private room. I don't know where he went. Right after Baya said that, Zhou Heilan hung up the phone. She frowned and looked at Xiao Xian, who was standing beside her. You've caused me so much trouble this time. Why did you say that I can't know about it, and that I will be taken away and die? If that's the case, your father will think that I'm a bad person. Xiao Xian looked at Zhou Heilan in fear. She doesn't want to go with me? Run away now. If your father finds you, deny it immediately and say that you didn't say anything. It was Baya who hit you. You have to be firm. If necessary, continue to use the trick of injuring yourself. If you use it now, it's for our future happiness. Understand? Zhou Heilan instructed. I understand, Mom. I won't let that bad woman take Dad away, Xiao Xian said and continued to run towards the back alley. Zhou Heilan called Gu Lingqing worriedly. Ah Qing, something happened to Xiao Xian. I can't find him anywhere. How is that possible? Gu Lingqing asked. I made an appointment with Baya today. I wanted to return your property ownership certificate to you. I asked Xiao Xian and Baya to be alone. But when I returned to the private room, Baya and Xiao Xian were gone. I called Baya just now and Baya said that she saw Xiao Xian rushing out. She doesn't know where Xiao Xian went. Xiao Xian is very obedient. Why did he suddenly rush out? Zhou Heilan directed all the blame to Baya. I understand. Let's find Xiao Xian first. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone without hesitation. Baya rested for half an hour. Then, she went to a ramen shop near the hotel to eat noodles. When she was halfway through her ramen, her phone rang. She saw that it was an unfamiliar number. She picked up the call. If you want the child to live, come to Qingshan Park. You must have called the wrong number, Baya said calmly. She lowered her head and continued to eat her noodles. You are Baya, right? Xiao Xian is in our hands. If you don't come in 2 hours, you will only see his corpse, the person on the other side warned. You should be looking for the child's father or mother. You can also look for the child's grandparents. I have nothing to do with this child. I'm sorry. Also, if you call me again, I will call the police. You're on your own, Baya said and hung up the phone. Yes. The person on the other side. After she finished eating, she paid. She was curious about what the other party was up to. She drove to Qingshan Park. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing. Daddy, that woman hit me. She wanted to hit me again, so I ran away, Xiao Xian complained. You said that Baya hit you? How is that possible? Xiao Xian, don't talk nonsense. How could she hit you? Zhou Heilan said in disbelief. That woman hit me. She even forced me to say that there's something wrong with my mother. If I didn't say anything, she would hit me. Xiao Xian pursed her lips and said pitifully. Zhou Heilan observed Gu Lingqing's expression and said gently, there must be a misunderstanding. I believe in Baya's character. Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xian with a cold expression. He squatted down and said, you don't want Baya to be your mother, do you? Zhou Heilan immediately realized the trap in his words. He said immediately, why would I? Baya is educated and reasonable. He's someone I can trust. Gu Lingqing glanced at Zhou Heilan and said calmly, you know Baya's character. Of course you would think so. Xiao Xian is still young. He will only judge based on his supervisor. Xiao Xian's opinion is very important to me. Zhou Heilan was speechless by Gu Lingqing. He did not know what to say. Xiao Xian seemed to have found a resonance. She said, I don't want her to be my mother. I have a mother. Why should I want someone else to be my mother? So you're using this method to frame her? Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xian's forehead. But she doesn't know that I'm going to marry someone else. What you're doing is useless. Don't do anything that will hurt yourself in the future. Zhou Hailan was shocked. You're not going to marry Baiya. Why? Baiya is so good. Chapter 285. Why? What did I do wrong? Zhou Hailan's eyes turned red and he looked at Gu Lingqing anxiously. Xiao Xian has learned to torture himself at such a young age. If you don't correct his character, he will become darker when he grows up. Do you think you have corrected him? Gu Lingqing said bluntly. I don't believe that Baiya hit him either. Why didn't I correct him? You can't wrong me. At least I didn't do anything wrong to you. Zhou Hailan felt wronged. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened and he stopped talking. Let me take you to the hospital first. Xiao Xian's head is injured. He needs to be checked. Zhou Hailan turned around and saw Baiya in the distance. His eyes flickered and he said to Gu Lingqing, carry Xiao Xian. Even if he did something wrong, he is still a child. I don't want him to feel no love. That will only make his character more twisted. Gu Lingqing carried Xiao Xian who was injured. Xiao Xian wrapped her arms around Gu Lingqing's neck. Dad, who are you going to marry? I want you to be with Mom. Even if Mom and Dad are not together, we will still love you. Don't worry. But I can't see you. Xiao Xian felt wronged. From now on, I will make time to see you 4 times a month. Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya watched the family of 3 walk to the other side. The father loved the mother, and the mother were kind. They were happy and harmonious. It was a beautiful scene. And she was just a drop in the ocean. She couldn't even handle her own affairs well. She couldn't care less about other people's family affairs. She rolled up the window. Now she and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Would Gu Lingqing still help her to save Lu Shuang? She didn't have the cheek to ask him about it. She took out her phone and was about to call Su Jiran when Mu Xiaosheng called. Baiya answered the call. Hello, Xiaosheng. Baiya, are you still in a city? Mu Xiaosheng asked anxiously. Yes, what's wrong? Help. Let me tell you, there's an extremely vicious murder case in Jinyuan City, and Governor Lu's son is involved in it. The child was very stubborn. After he was caught, he only said that he didn't do it and didn't say anything else. His identity was special, so the police did not dare to use extreme measures. So they asked for help from the higher-ups. Now they are pressuring me. You're the most capable one here. Mu Xiaosheng said anxiously. Baiya remained silent. She promised to help Mu Xiaosheng complete the 12 tasks, but she subconsciously rejected LV Biao's case. When Mu Xiaosheng saw that Baiya didn't answer, he was even more uncertain. In the past, Baiya answered very simply. I'll tell you the truth. My task was pressured, so I had to send someone to do it. But the people here heard that it involves a high-ranking official, so no one is willing to go. Only I can go. The problem is that I'm not a criminal psychologist, but I'm the director of the hospital. If I go, not only will it be useless, but it will also affect the hospital's reputation. Mu Xiaosheng tried to persuade her. I know. I'll go, Baiya replied. After all, she owed Mu Xiaosheng a favor. Mu Xiaosheng promised to help Lu Shuang without hesitation, so she shouldn't refuse. Baiya, you're really my benefactor. Are you free this afternoon? I'll buy you a train ticket. I'll send the document to the director. Okay. Send me a message when you've booked the train ticket. I'll go back to pack and check out. That's great. I'll book a presidential suite for you in Jinyuan City. I'll send you a message later. Mu Xiaosheng seemed to be afraid that she would regret it, so he quickly hung up the phone. Baiya went back to the hotel to pack her luggage. When she checked out of her room, she received a message from Mu Xiaosheng. He had booked a train for her at 17:20 p.m., and the train would arrive at Jinyuan City at 21:40 p.m. He had also booked a presidential suite at Jinyuan International Hotel for her. He had already paid for the room, and the money was directly bound to his credit card. She would be charged for 1 night's stay. If it weren't for the fact that she didn't have much time, she and Mu Xiaosheng might have become good friends. On her way to the train station, Baiya called Su Jiran. Darling, how did you know that I just woke up? Let's have dinner together tonight. Su Jiran's evil voice sounded. We can't have dinner together tonight. The Research Institute has received a mission. I need to go to Jinyuan City to help the police solve the case. When I come back, I want to meet Lu Shuang. Can you help me arrange it? Baya asked. You're going to Jinyuan City? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Su Jiran was a little unhappy. I just found out. I didn't know earlier. Can you help me? Baya asked again. How long will you be gone? Su Jiran frowned. Baya heard Su Jiran's promise. Although Su Jiran was a ruthless person, he would usually do what he promised. Baya breathed a sigh of relief. She would meet Lu Shuang first before planning how to save Lu Shuang. I don't know how long it will take. If it's fast, a day. If it's slow, it shouldn't be more than half a month. I'll contact you then. Half a month? The effect of my medicine is 1 month. Remember to come back within a month. Otherwise, even the gods won't be able to save you. Also, do you know who Gu Lingqing is going to marry? Su Jiran asked suspiciously. Baya shook her head. She recalled the scene of Gu Lingqing carrying the child, and Zhou Hailan following beside him. Her eyes turned cold. I don't know and I don't care. His world and mine are not the same. I just want to forget this person as soon as possible. You'd better not mention him in front of me. Su Jiran's lips curled up. Do you mean what you said? I mean it, Baya said with certainty. Su Jiran believed that she was sincere. A smile appeared in his eyes. Be careful on the road. When you arrive at Jinyuan City, I'll get someone to pick you up. There's no need. Xiaoxing said that she had sent a document to Jinyuan City's police. They should have someone to pick me up at the train station. Xiaoxing has also booked a hotel for me. I've been to Jinyuan City many times this month, and I'm very familiar with the city. Troubling your friend will only make me look incompetent. Since you've already rejected me, if I force you, I'll only make you hate me. Alright then. Remember to give me a call when you arrive at Jinyuan. Also, seeing that your performance today wasn't bad, I'll give you a big present when you come back, Su Jiran said with a smile. What big gift? You'll know when you come back, Su Jiran kept her in suspense. Is it about Xing Bachuan? Baya guessed. Chapter 286. She was not really looking forward to the surprise he had mentioned. She would be happy if it was just a surprise. Baya boarded the train. Mu Xiaoxue had booked a first-class seat for her. She did not know why, but she felt sleepy easily. It was as if she wanted to make up for the lack of sleep she had during her insomnia. She fell asleep the moment she boarded the train, and was woken up by her phone ringing. She looked at the time. It was already 9:30 p.m. She picked up Chunbin's call. You should be arriving at Jinyuan Station soon. I'm already waiting for you outside. See you later, Chunbin said politely. Baya was happy to reunite with an old friend. Have you been transferred to Jinyuan City's police station? Yeah. There was a big case in Jinyuan City right after I was transferred here. It would be bad for us to deal with it directly, so we hired a specialist. I reported it to the higher-ups, but I didn't expect them to send you here. I think it's fate, Chunbin said with a smile. I don't think it's fate. It's all within reason. I was previously employed by LV Xingzhou as a psychiatrist. Because he interfered with my treatment, I ended my employment relationship with him early. Let's talk about it when we meet. Baya looked out of the window. Alright, let's talk when we meet. Chunbin hung up. Baya went to the bathroom to wash her face. She took her luggage down from the luggage rack and stood at the door. It was already dark outside. Her face was reflected in the door, but her mind was blank. She could not think of anything. The train soon arrived at the station. She got out and saw Chunbin from afar. He was wearing a light blue suit. He looked gentle and elegant, like a scholar. If one did not know his identity, no one would know that he was the police chief. Baya walked over to him. He took the luggage from her like a gentleman. Have you had dinner? I'm used to not feeling hungry during the journey, so I don't have much appetite, Baya said politely. It's not good for your stomach if you don't eat anything. Let's eat something nearby. I'll send you back to the hotel and tell you about the case on the way. Chunbin placed the luggage in the back of the car. Baya nodded. At the restaurant, Chunbin ordered tomato eggs, kung pao chicken, carrot ribs and braised fish. While waiting for the dishes, he said, This case is quite bizarre. One of the victims was Zhang Chuanxia, a sophomore in high school. She had good grades and was the prettiest girl in her class. 3 months ago, accompanied by her parents, she came to the police station to report the case. She said that she had been raped by her classmate, Lu Biao. We've checked and found that there's an additional 1 million in their account. It should be Lu Biao's family who used the money to settle this matter. At the murder scene, not only was Zhang Chuanxia raped again, but the murderer was also extremely cruel. After injecting 84 disinfectant into her body, completely destroying her DNA, she blocked her Y region with a blister agent, and even dug out her tongue. So far, her tongue has not been found. The cause of death was cut. The main artery of the neck was cut, and he bled to death. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had been stabbed 36 times. The fatal stab had been to the heart, and she had been amputated. One of her legs had been stuffed into the mouth of the deceased and sealed with a blister. Zhang Chuanxia's father's eyes and other organs had been dug out. The cause of death was suffocation while being pressed into water. Why did you arrest Lu Biao? Baiya was surprised. Someone said that they saw Lu Biao sneaking around on the night of the crime. When we caught him, he didn't say anything and had a blank expression, Chenbin explained. Was the victim's house the first scene of the crime? Did you find any drugs in the victim's body? Baiya asked. The strange thing is that the victim's house was the first scene of the crime, but no drugs were found in the victim's body. So this case is very bizarre. We suspect that Lu Biao is not the only murderer, Chenbin guessed. Is Zhang Chuanxia's house a private or commercial house? Are there no surveillance cameras around? Baiya asked. This is also a strange place. They live in an old neighborhood, and the surveillance equipment is not good. But the people downstairs did not hear the movements upstairs. Then, who discovered the case first? Zhang Chuanxia's classmate came to look for Zhang Chuanxia. No one picked up their phone, and no one answered when they knocked on the door. Then they realized that the door was unlocked. When they opened the door and saw blood, they called the police. What about the time of death? What about the contents of the stomach? Did you find the murder weapon? Baiya asked 3 questions in a row. The time of death was between 9 and 4 in the morning. The victim was found at 7:35 the next day. The contents of the stomach were the food she ate at night. There was nothing special. The murder weapon was left at the scene. The murder weapon used for amputation must be quite big, right? Baiya guessed. It was an electric saw knife. It was left at the scene. The problem is that Zhang Chuanxia's father bought the saw online. It wasn't brought by the murderer. The bayonet was taken from the kitchen. The blowing agent and 84 disinfectant were all from the victim's house. It doesn't seem to be premeditated, but it was done flawlessly. The murderer didn't leave any fingerprints or traces at the scene. How did they do it? Chenbin was confused. Their food was served. Chenbin was a little apologetic. He wanted to treat her to a good night meal, but he seemed to have said too much. Baiya had no appetite at all. She decided not to eat. Were there any signs of them being tied up? The forensic report didn't mention this. That's why I don't think it's possible to solve this case. I also don't believe that LV Biao did it alone. After all, he's still a child. How could he control 3 people alone? 2 of them were adults. But when I asked him, he wouldn't say anything. Chenbin sighed and looked at Baiya. I'm sorry for talking about such a bloody topic while you're eating. Can I go see LV Biao tonight? Baiya asked. So late? Don't you need to rest? Chenbin asked worriedly. I slept for a few hours in the car, so I'm not sleepy. I can pack these and send them to LV Biao, Baiya said gently. Chenbin smiled. You're quite considerate of him. Psychological warfare is the best, Baiya said. Her lips curled into a meaningful smile. They packed the food. Chenbin informed his subordinates to work overtime. Baiya took the food and went to the interrogation room to see LV Biao. When LV Biao saw Baiya, his eyes widened in surprise. Then he furrowed his brows and turned his face away. Baiya smiled. Even if you're angry with me, you should eat your fill before you have the energy. You've been starving here for many days, right? Chapter 287. She had guessed that LV Biao would know her identity. When she left LV Biao's house, LV Biao lost his temper. His mother must have said a lot of bad things about her, including exposing her real identity. I came to save you as soon as I knew you were in trouble. Do you think I'm a psychologist now? Baya joked. Save me? How much money did you take from my father? LV Biao mocked. When I was your psychologist, I signed a contract and got paid. This time I didn't. Baya confirmed and looked at LV Biao attentively. LV Biao studied her face as if he wanted to see if she was lying. But there was none. Did you really come to save me because you cared about me? LV Biao was a little shaken. As long as you're innocent, I'll do everything I can to prove your innocence. As long as you're innocent, I won't let anyone frame you. Ms. Bai, I didn't kill anyone. I didn't kill them. LV Biao's psychological defense was broken. Why did you appear at the crime scene? Baya asked. My mom not only let the students who bullied me go, but she also fired you. I was very angry, so I wanted to do something to express my anger. So I let out the tires of the students who bullied me. When they found out it was me, they encouraged Zhang Chuanxia to call the police and say that I raped her. On the day of the crime, I wanted to warn Zhang Chuanxia, so I picked the lock of her house. After I opened the door, I found a strong smell of blood, and I heard Zhang Chuanxia crying. I knew something had happened in their house, so I sneaked in and pushed open Zhang Chuanxia's door. I saw Zhang Chuanxia lying on the bed without any clothes, but her private part was blocked by something that looked like white foam. Her mouth was also covered with white foam, and her throat was bleeding. I pushed open the door to the room next to Zhang Chuanxia's. Her mother was also dead on the bed. Her limbs were amputated, and she died a horrible death. I thought that if her mother was there, her father should be there too. I was afraid of leaving fingerprints, so I erased the fingerprints on Zhang Chuanxia's door and her mother's door. In the end, I found Zhang Chuanxia's father naked in the bathroom. His organs were removed, but LV Biao paused and did not speak. But what? Baya's intuition was an important clue. LV Biao glanced at Baya, and then at the food Baya had brought. He continued, there was a phone on the pool, and there were a few videos on it. They were very bloody, so I took them. When I walked out of Zhang Chuanxia's house, I bumped into some people. I thought they would accuse me, and sure enough, they really did. Then why didn't you say anything? You should know that if you don't say anything, it will be very disadvantageous for you. Baya frowned. Their modus operandi is amazing. Their mentality is very good. They are professionals. I just want to see if the police can find them, so I don't want to say anything. When Baya saw the glint in LV Biao's eyes, he had a bad feeling. LV Biao was still young. He was like a piece of white paper with a strong absorptive force. Whatever kind of guidance he had, he would be able to draw out a certain picture. He had to find the murderer and punish him. Otherwise, it would greatly distort LV Biao's mentality. Eat first. I'll get you some water. Baya walked out of the interrogation room. LV Biao opened the takeaway box. You're still the best. LV Biao spoke the moment you arrived. But why didn't you ask about the specific contents of the phone? Chen Bin asked, puzzled. Firstly, he said that he wanted to see the police's ability, so he wouldn't say anything, even if I asked. Secondly, he revealed a few words, professional and good psychological quality. I suspect that the criminal recorded the process of the crime, but they wouldn't expose their own information, so they recorded it. So through recording, the chances of finding out who the murderer is should be very low. Could it be a serial murder case? Random murder? But I haven't seen any cases of death from exhaustion so far. Could this be the first time they killed someone? It's unbelievable. Chen Bin frowned. A new official was most afraid of such an unsolved case. Random murder? Baya narrowed her eyes. She also felt annoyed. This was like looking for a needle in a haystack. There was no clue. Can we get the video? Although the chances are slim, it's better than no clues at all, Chen Bin suggested. It's better not to ask LV Biao about the video. Otherwise, he will doubt your ability. Where did you catch LV Biao? Baya asked. It was at his house. What's wrong? Chen Bin asked, puzzled. LV Biao called this crime perfect, so he definitely wouldn't destroy it. He might keep it. Go search LV Biao's house. Maybe it's in his cloud collection, Baya suggested. Chen Bin ordered his men to do something. Baya brought the water into the interrogation room. After entering, she didn't say anything. She just watched LV Biao eat. LV Biao wolfed down the food and looked quite pitiful. After you came in, did your father come to see you? Baya asked. LV Biao shrugged and said indifferently, this incident is too sensational. He probably wants to kill me. I don't have much feelings for him to begin with. The fee you paid me wasn't low. I still love you. LV Biao sneered. Feelings can't be bought with money. He spends money easily, but it's hard for him to give his feelings. Sometimes, I hate that I'm his son. I can't feel any fatherly love. I've never told you my story. My story is much more bizarre than yours. I'll tell you slowly after I get you out of here. Baya stood up. LV Biao also stood up. Teacher Bai, why are you so nice to me? We've only known each other for a few days. We're both in the same boat. I feel that we're fated. Besides, feelings are mutual. You can protect me from your mother and trust me. I'm quite touched. Stay here for a few more days. I'll bring you delicious food. Teacher Bai. LV Biao was a little touched. I still have a clue. That woman dropped an earring. I picked it up and put it in a book. Maybe there are fingerprints on it. Baya smiled. Making a mistake once did not mean making a mistake for the rest of his life. LV Biao had a chance to walk the right path. I'll come see you tomorrow. When Baya went out, Chen Bin said gratefully, that's great. This kid finally spoke. Now the database has everyone's fingerprints. As long as there are fingerprints on the earring, we can quickly find the murderer, and this case will be solved. It seems that it really has nothing to do with LV Biao. As long as he's fine, I won't have to step on the governor. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Chapter 288. She went back to sleep. Chen Bin was a new boss, and this case was unusual. He didn't sleep the whole night. He applied for a search warrant and found the earrings and the phone. Baya woke up naturally. She looked at the time. It was 7:30 in the morning. Her mind was a little muddled. She sat on the bed in a daze for 3 minutes, and gradually, she returned to reality. As long as she lived, life would continue. She brushed her teeth, washed her face, tied her hair up on top of her head, changed into a dark purple suit, took her breakfast rolls, and went to the hotel cafeteria. As soon as she walked in, she saw Gu Lingqing sitting by the window. He took a sandwich, a glass of milk, and an egg, and ate slowly. The eyes outside the window fell on his handsome body through the window, enveloped in a hazy halo. It had only been a few days, but it seemed like a lifetime had passed. He was as lofty as an immortal, and she was also a drop in the ocean. She had seen the ocean, but now she didn't recognize him. She took a chicken salad, a side dish, a bowl of noodles, a glass of sweet soy milk, and sat in the corner. Actually, she was quite curious. Why was he in Jinyuan, and in the same hotel as her? Was it because she was here, and he followed her? She thought it was unlikely. Since he had chosen to marry another woman, based on her understanding of him, a responsible person like him would not have anything to do with her. So, was it because of the treasure? Baya subconsciously looked at him. Coincidentally, he was also looking at her. His eyes were deep, and he didn't say anything. He didn't have any intention of greeting her. It was as if there were mountains between the two of them. She used to love ancient poetry, especially in middle and high school. She was infatuated with these genteel poems. She memorized all the poems that she felt were artistic and beautiful. When she was in puberty, she also wrote some poems, and her favorite thing to do was to randomly put them together. Now that he saw Gu Lingqing, a few words flashed through his mind. Two people in a life and death situation, do not think, have nowhere to talk about desolation, even if they meet, should not recognize each other. Heart like dust, eyes like light, only sorrow, sentimentality hurts. Baya lowered her eyes. She was calm like silk, and she wasn't shocked at all. Gu Lingqing finished eating before her. He didn't come over to say hello and directly left. There seemed to be no more interaction between the two of them. She felt a little pain in her heart, and even her eyes were a little wet. She lowered her head and didn't want anyone to see her emotions at this moment. She suppressed all the pain in her heart. She thought of the ancient times. Many people became friends because they were like-minded. Unfortunately, men had ambitions to travel far and wide. At that time there was no mobile phone, no fixed residence. Parting meant that they would never meet again. Once parted, the words written by the literati were particularly sad. Now there were mobile phones and the internet, but the sincere feelings of the ancients were gone. Even their feelings had to be disguised. All right, she admitted that she was sad. This kind of sadness was more than she had imagined. She wanted to cry, but she had no reason to. This was their normal, correct and normal path of life, wasn't it? Baya had finished all the food in front of him, but what about the water in his heart? It couldn't be discharged from his tears. It could only settle, and settle again in his heart. She got up and walked towards the hotel lobby. Her mobile phone rang. She saw that it was Chunbin and answered, "Sorry, am I late?" Chunbin was in a good mood. "Your working hours have always been flexible. There's no such thing as being late. Let me tell you a piece of good news. There are fingerprints on the earring. Other than Zhang Chuanxia's father's, it's also the murderer's. After comparing the fingerprints, we've found the murderer." Hearing this news early in the morning makes me feel better. "Is Lu Biao okay now?" Baya said with a smile. "He's fine. He went home this morning. Governor Lu is very happy. He's treating us to lunch today. Are you coming to the station, or should I pick you up at noon?" Chunbin asked. "I'm coming to the station now. After all, the murderer hasn't been caught yet." "Okay, I'll wait for you," Chunbin said in a low voice. The words "wait for you" were very beautiful. However, when it was not said by the person he wanted, there was no such feeling of heartbeat. When Baya arrived at the station, Chunbin was already there, sitting in front of the computer, browsing. She knocked on the door of the office. Chunbin looked at her and smiled. "Come in." Baya sat down opposite him. "Who's the murderer?" "The murderer's name is Zhang Hui. The husband and wife are wanted criminals on the internet. They used to run a hotel and murdered 13 guests in 3 years. 8 of them were men, 4 were women, and 1 was a child. Among the men, 2 were policemen. Their psychological quality is really good, and their methods are also cruel." Chunbin showed the computer to Baya. "They're really a crime syndicate." Baya looked at the reports about the husband and wife. She felt that something was wrong. "Do you think they killed people at random?" "They used to kill people at random. Moreover, because they didn't leave any information about their accommodation, the killings were also random," Chunbin guessed. Baya did not say anything. There was a knock on the door. A police officer came in and reported to Chunbin. "Chief Chun, we found the murderer. They committed suicide by taking poison in the rented house. They even wrote a suicide note, describing how they murdered Zhang Chuanxia's family." "Committed suicide?" Chunbin was also very surprised. "Is the video with you now?" Baya asked Chunbin. "Yes, the phone has been found." "Let me take a look at the phone," Baya said to Chunbin. Chunbin's expression was a little strange. He looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. "What's wrong?" Baya asked, puzzled. "It's a little unsightly." Chunbin gave Baya a heads up and handed the sealed bag with the phone. "Do you think I'll be afraid?" "Don't worry, I'm not that timid. Before I became a psychiatrist, I was an obstetrician. I dissected patients every day." Baya took the phone and played the video. When she saw the scene, she was indeed uncomfortable. A masked murderer held a knife to Zhang Chuanxia's neck and raped her. In the room, Zhang Chuanxia's family was there. He also asked Zhang Chuanxia's father to, and then made Zhang Chuanxia's father pour 84 disinfectant into his mouth. The murderer said, "You don't want the police to identify you as the murderer through the J fluid test in your daughter's body, do you?" Zhang Chuanxia's father begged for mercy. "Please let us go. We have 500,000 in the bank. If you want it, let go of my wife and child, and I'll give it all to you." The murderer laughed wildly. 500,000? Ha 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 ha. That depends on your performance. Chapter 289. While Zhang Chuanxia's father was weak, the murderer pressed his head into the pool and suffocated him to death. After Zhang Chuanxia's father died, she cut off his genitals and placed them in a sealed bag. What she didn't notice was that while she was enjoying herself, Zhang Chuanxia's father had purposely removed one of her earrings and held it tightly in his palm. After the murderer killed Zhang Chuanxia's father, she continued recording on her phone and returned to Zhang Chuanxia's room. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had a bad feeling when she saw that her husband wasn't back. "Where's my husband?" "Your husband went out to get money. You come with me." Zhang Chuanxia's mother followed the murderer suspiciously. As soon as she entered the room, she was stabbed several times by the murderer. The murderer pushed Zhang Chuanxia's mother away, turned on the electric saw, and cleanly sawed off Zhang Chuanxia's mother's leg. She stuffed her foot into Zhang Chuanxia's mother's mouth. "Watch your mouth, huh?" She took the phone and went to Zhang Chuanxia's room next door. The other murderer had already forced Zhang Chuanxia to complete her oral sex. The woman went up and mercilessly cut off Zhang Chuanxia's tongue. Zhang Chuanxia was in so much pain that she wanted to die. She stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's mouth with a foam agent. Zhang Chuanxia couldn't make a sound and fainted. The female murderer stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's lower body with the foam agent again and scolded, "Who asked you to do this?" She threw the knife to the male murderer and ordered, "Have you had enough fun? If you have, end her." The man took the knife and mercilessly slit Zhang Chuanxia's neck. The whole process was too violent and bloody. After watching it, Baya felt a chill run down her spine. She didn't look good either and shuddered. Chinbin handed her a cup of hot tea. The husband and wife are very mentally strong. They can do whatever they want in someone else's territory. Baya took the hot tea from Chinbin and took a sip. If they're mentally strong, why would they commit suicide? Could it be that they were tired of hiding and wanted to do something big, so they deliberately left the recording at the scene? Chinbin guessed. "Why do you think they left the recording with the police?" Baya asked. "A demonstration." Baya twitched the corner of his mouth. "If I were the murderer, I'd decide to commit suicide. I also hate the police and want to demonstrate to them. What I'd do is not wear a mask and let the police see that I did it. Then I'd rent a boat and go out to sea. I'd tie rocks to my feet and jump into the sea. Yes, I'll make it so that the police won't be able to catch me for the rest of my life." Baya analyzed. Chinbin's expression turned grave. "Are you saying that they didn't commit suicide? They've already left the video to the police on purpose. Do you think that they would intentionally describe the murder before dying?" Baya retorted. "So they were murdered. Moreover, the murderer knows how they killed them. Could it really be LV Biao?" Chinbin was horrified. He widened his eyes and looked at Baya. Baya was still calm. He took a sip of water and looked at Chinbin calmly. "When they died, LV Biao should still be in the detention center. How could he kill them?" "Oh right." Chinbin breathed a sigh of relief. LV Biao's identity was special. It was fine as long as it wasn't LV Biao. There are a few sentences in the video. The first sentence is, Baya played the video and showed it to Chinbin. 500,000. Ahahaha. "Did you feel anything strange?" Baya asked. Chinbin listened to it a few times and deduced from the results. The murderer didn't care about 500,000. Was it because they were preparing to commit suicide, so they weren't tempted by the money? Baya played another sentence that the murderer said after killing Zhang Chuanxia's mother. "Watch your mouth, heh." Is it because she asked, "Where's my husband?" Chinbin asked, puzzled. Baya played the last sentence that the murderer said to Zhang Chuanxia. "I'll make you despicable." The murderer's heart is twisted, Chinbin guessed. Baya put the glass of water on the table and sighed. She asked, "Let me ask you, did Zhang Chuanxia's father have $1 million in his bank account?" "He spent the money 2 days before his death as a down payment for a villa," Chinbin explained. That would explain why the murderer was so arrogant and full of disbelief. He knew Zhang Chuanxia's family's situation like the back of his hand. Zhang Chuanxia's parents probably couldn't afford the loan for the villa, but they still bought it. That's because they had a way to make money. Baya analyzed. They got themselves killed because of this way of making money. Chinbin came to a sudden realization. The murderer also told them how to make money, Baya reminded him. Chenbin pondered. Then we have to start from the people that Zhang Chuanxia has been in contact with recently. Chenbin, you've never been a detective before, right? Baya said meaningfully. Chenbin's face was strangely red, but he was honest. Indeed, I haven't, but I'll try my best to learn. I actually already know who the murderer is, but we don't have any witnesses or material evidence at the moment. We can't convict him just by guessing. Baya shrugged. Who is it? Chenbin was surprised. The murderer couldn't have appeared at the scene. From the video, we can also see that there were two people who committed the crime. But why do you think the murderer knows everything about the crime? Baya glanced at the phone. Chenbin understood. The murderer saw the contents of the phone, but the phone was found yesterday. The only people who knew about it were me and a few police officers. Could it be those police officers? How much money do your police officers have? Even if they liked Zhang Chuanxia's family wouldn't like your police officers, Baya retorted. Could it be me? Chenbin was shocked. Baya was amused by Chenbin. Are you very rich? I can, and I have some power, Chenbin said honestly. Baya was amused by Chenbin again. It's not you. Think about it again. I think you'll know who it is after you sleep tonight. But there's nothing you can do even if you figure it out. There's no evidence, only speculation. I can see all the reports about the murderer's suicide tomorrow. It's from the forensics department, right? The higher-ups are paying more attention to this case. They're working overtime today. The forensics department will also send us all the things we need. Okay. Baya stood up and looked at her phone. It was already 10:45 a.m. Didn't you say that Governor Liu is treating us to dinner? Chenbin's eyes flashed with a strange look. Oh yes. We're meeting at 12 o'clock in room 312 of Savant's restaurant. Let's go there now. Baya followed Chenbin to Savant's restaurant. She should have met Governor Liu, but she didn't expect that it was Gu Lingqing who arrived instead of Governor Liu. Other than Gu Lingqing, he also brought a man with him. She didn't know him. Chapter 290. Gu Lingqing's deep gaze fell on her. He didn't say anything, as if he had said thousands of words. That strange yet familiar feeling overwhelmed her, and she didn't know how to deal with it. She lowered her head. Did you guys go to the wrong room? Someone beside Gu Lingqing asked. Baya immediately turned around. Chenbin held Baya's arm. I'll call and ask. Baya nodded. Chenbin smiled at Baya. His eyes filled with affection and made the call. The phone rang outside the door. LV Xingzhou walked in with his phone and smiled. You're all here. I'm sorry there was a bit of a traffic jam. Teacher Bai. LV Biao greeted warmly. Teacher Bai. LV Biao's mother didn't look too good. After all, Baya saved her son, and they didn't have a good relationship before. Baya nodded politely at them as a form of greeting. Chenbin saw LV Xingzhou coming over, so he hung up and said politely, It's rush hour. It'd be weird if we didn't gamble. Governor LV, you came at the right time. I thought we went to the wrong room. A friend has come from afar. Let me introduce him to you. LV Xingzhou looked at Gu Lingqing. Chief Gu from the Special Forces. Chief Gu, this is Baya, a famous psychiatrist, and Chenbin, the current police chief. Both of you are elites among the younger generation. When I was your age, I was still nothing. LV Xingzhou chatted with them as he sat down facing the door, as the host. As the host, LV Biao sat on his left, and Gu Lingqing sat on LV Xingzhou's right, which was the most distinguished seat. Because it was booked in advance, and it was a room for an important person, the dishes were served quickly. The waiter poured red wine for everyone. Here, I'd like to thank Teacher Bai. I'm sorry, there was some misunderstanding between you and my wife. I was too busy at work and didn't know the details in time. Teacher Bai was wronged. I'd like to propose a toast to you. LV Xingzhou smiled and raised his glass. Baya raised her glass too. LV Biao's mother had a cowardly personality, and it was impossible for her not to report to LV Xingzhou. LV Xingzhou's words were spoken in front of everyone, and it had legal effect. He wanted to clear himself of the responsibility in the contract. If she smiled and agreed, not only would the contract not be terminated, but she would also suffer the consequences 3 months later. Some of the courtesies were not needed, and some of them were rejected. He couldn't refuse them just because of the occasion and face. "Didn't your wife call you last time?" Baya said directly and took a sip of wine. LV Xingzhou did not expect Baya to not give him face at all. His face was a little ugly, and he looked at his wife. "Did you tell me about this?" LV Xingzhou's wife's complexion was also very bad. She was stuttering. She said a lot of bad things about Baya in front of LV Biao. She did not want Baya to continue to be LV Biao's tutor, but she had to give her husband a way out. "I have a bad memory, so I forgot. Fortunately, I have a good memory. However, business is business, and private is private. I followed the arrangements of the research institute, and did what I should do. Governor Liu even specially invited me to dinner. I'm embarrassed. Let me propose a toast to Governor Liu," Baya replied. LV Xingzhou unhappily glared at his wife. There were so many people around, and it was not good for him to flare up, so he put on a fake smile and raised his wine glass, taking a sip. "By the way, Governor Liu, aren't you busy recently? Are you free at noon?" Baya asked with a smile. "It just so happens that I came to Jinyuan for an inspection today. I have some matters to settle. No matter how busy I am, I still have to eat. Kindness needs to be repaid. Fortunately, Teacher Bai is here. If it was someone else, they might not have been able to solve the case," LV Xingzhou replied. "Governor Liu, you flatter me. If you do it, God will not let it go. If you don't do it, God will see it. Xiao Biao just needs to tell us where the mobile phone is. The video inside can prove Xiao Biao's innocence," Baya explained. "Is that so?" LV Xingzhou looked at Chunbin in surprise. Chunbin nodded. "That's right. However, when we asked your son, he didn't say anything. He sighed. LV Xingzhou sighed. Only you can control my son. I'm very sincere in hiring you as Xiao Biao's teacher again." "Teacher Bai," LV Biao shouted. "I like you." Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He looked at Baya, raised his wine glass, and took a sip to drown his sorrows. Baya also raised his wine glass and smiled at LV Biao. "Actually, you never needed me. Others don't believe in you, but I believe in you. One day, you will become a very useful person. Remember, don't make mistakes, don't take a wrong step." LV Biao's eyes reddened. He raised his wine glass and said, "Teacher Bai, thank you." Baya clinked his glass against the table, then drank all the wine in the glass in one gulp. LV Biao also drank all the wine in his glass. "Pour some wine for your teacher Bai," LV Xingzhou reminded him. LV Biao picked up the glass bottle and walked to Baya's side to pour some wine. Chunbin also raised his glass. "Here's to you. Thank you for coming." "I don't deserve it. I still have to thank you for saving me." Baya raised his wine glass. "Can I take it as fate bestowed upon me by God?" Chunbin said with a smile. He clinked his glass with Baya's and drank all the wine in one gulp. Baya saw him drink it. If he didn't, he would be too petty. LV Xingzhou saw the clues. "You guys knew each other before this? I think it's a good fate," Chunbin said with a smile, with the ambiguity of a mature man. Gu Lingqing drank all the wine in his glass in one gulp again. His eyes were deep, like a 10,000-year-old deep pool, unfathomable. "Teacher Bai, do you have a boyfriend now?" LV Xingzhou asked. Baya looked down and glanced at Gu Lingqing from the corner of her eyes. Perhaps they were too far apart, so she couldn't see his expression clearly. Did she have a boyfriend? Su Jiran, forget it. "Yes," Baya said with certainty, which also cut off Chunbin's thoughts. Chunbin was indeed a little disappointed, but he was still very polite. He praised. "It must be a blessing to be your boyfriend." "I hope so," Baya said ambiguously. The waiter poured red wine for her. LV Xingzhou changed the topic and looked at Gu Lingqing. "Chief, do you have a girlfriend?" "Yes," Gu Lingqing answered and drank all the wine in his glass again. He looked like he didn't want to say more. LV Xingzhou poured wine for Gu Lingqing. Then the person who becomes Chief Gu's girlfriend must be very happy. "Here's to you." Gu Lingqing did not say anything and drank all the wine in his glass. Baya stared at him. Gu Lingqing was a very responsible person. Once he got married, he would be responsible for his marriage, his wife, and his children. He would not do anything that would let his family down. This kind of man was very good, really good. Chief Gu, I wish you the best, Bai Ye said sincerely and raised his glass. Chapter 291. Bai Ye's heart tightened. Before she could stand up, she heard the person next to Gu Lingqing say in panic, "Chief, you're bleeding." Gu Lingqing frowned and said in a low voice, "It doesn't matter. Don't make a fuss." Bai Ye stood up, held Gu Lingqing's hand, and pulled out the glass piece. "Don't think it's a small injury. If it's not treated properly, it will become a serious injury. Chief is an important military leader of the country, so you should take care of your body." The waiter came over with the hotel's medical kit. Bai Ye bent down and carefully treated Gu Lingqing's wound. Gu Lingqing looked at her with deep eyes. Under the light fell on her body. Because she lowered her head, the silhouette of her hair fell on the side of her face, and it looked like a shadow falling on the wall. Some scenes of her helping him bandage his wound flashed in her mind. In the scenes, Bai Ye was still wearing a white coat, and she was helping him bandage his arm. If he didn't have an accident, if he didn't lose his memory, maybe they would have been together a long time ago. When Bai Ye was helping him bandage his hand, he held her hand. Bai Ye felt that his palm was very hot, so hot that her fingertips trembled. She looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion, and met his dark eyes. "Let go of my hand. Don't bother you," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, and let go of Bai Ye's hand. Her heart sank. Indeed, she cared too much about him, and with their current relationship, it was not suitable. She stood up and said to LV Xingzhou, "I'm going to the bathroom." "There's one in this private room." LV Xingzhou gestured to the waiter. The waiter pushed open the built-in bathroom in the private room. Bai Ye walked in, turned on the tap, and washed the red blood on her hands. This was Gu Lingqing's blood. Her heart ached, and she looked at herself in the mirror. "This is what you want, right?" Her reflection in the mirror didn't answer. She took a deep breath, adjusted her emotions, and turned to leave. LV Xingzhou put down his phone and said to Gu Lingqing, "Chief, your hand is injured, so don't drink. Why do you want freshly squeezed drinks? The grains here are not bad." "Then let's have some grains," said one of Gu Lingqing's subordinates. "Give me another portion of freshly squeezed grains," LV Xingzhou ordered the waiter. After a while, the 5 grains and miscellaneous grains were served. LV Xingzhou poured some wine for Gu Lingqing, then said to Bai Ye, "Teacher Bai, you've drunk quite a lot of wine. It's not easy for a girl to be outside, and you came here alone, so you should change to drinking grains. And Xiao Biao, you're still a child after all." LV Xingzhou gestured to the attendant. The waiter poured the 5 grains for Bai Ye and LV Biao. Bai Ye no longer had any appetite. She casually ate some dishes and drank a cup of mixed grains. Feeling a little hot, she looked at the air conditioner and softly said to the attendant, "Could you please lower the air conditioner?" "Okay." LV Xingzhou looked at the time on his phone. "Yo, it's almost 1:30. I still have a meeting in the afternoon. How about we call it a day? When I'm free, we can get together again another night." "Alright, I have to go back to the police station too." Chinbin looked at Bai Ye. "Are you going to the police station or the hotel now? I'll send you first." Bai Ye was uncomfortably hot, and her head was heavy. "I'll go back to the hotel to rest first. I'll go to the police station later." "Okay. Your face is very red. You probably drank too much. Red wine has a strong after effect." Chinbin helped Bai Ye stand up. Bai Ye was a little dizzy, and she leaned on Chinbin. Her body felt weak, which was not normal. She was also a little wet, as if she had been drugged. But then again, it was impossible. She was eating with them, so it didn't make sense that she was the only one affected. Maybe it was the combined effect of the toxins in her body and the alcohol. She wanted to leave this place as soon as possible and return to her own private space. Gu Lingqing frowned when he saw how intimate they were. "I'll stay in the same hotel as Miss Bai. I'm going back now, so I'll bring you along." Bai Ye instinctively didn't want Gu Lingqing to know about her situation. She nodded at Gu Lingqing. Chief is very busy, so I won't trouble you. I still have something to tell Chief Chen. Thank you. I don't have anything to do in the afternoon. Aren't you going to the police station later? You don't dare to get in my car? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai didn't understand what Gu Lingqing meant. When they met in the morning, didn't he pretend to be cold and didn't know her? Now he wanted to send her back? I just feel that I'm not close to Chief Gu, Bai explained. Not close. Gu Lingqing felt that this sentence was familiar. I'm very close to your boyfriend. He's my childhood cousin. I'll give you a lift. Gu Lingqing couldn't help but hold Bai's arm. He didn't even say goodbye and took her away. His men immediately followed Gu Lingqing. Chen Bin was surprised. So Bai's boyfriend was Chief Gu's childhood cousin. It seemed that he was either rich or powerful. He also left. Only LV Xingzhou and his family were left in the room. Dad, I'm not feeling well, LV Biao said, leaning on the table. His face was strangely red. What's wrong? Did he eat something wrong? LV Biao's mother said worriedly. I'll take him to the hospital. You stay here to settle the bill. LV Xingzhou carried LV Biao downstairs and left through the back door. He put LV Biao in the limousine. There was a young woman in the limousine. She was beautiful and charming. Serve her well, LV Xingzhou ordered. He got into the passenger seat. Our men are all in ambush. Do you want to make a move now? LV Xingzhou's man who was sitting in the driver's seat asked. Gu Lingqing actually took the initiative to take Baiyu away. He saved us a lot of effort. Even God is helping me. Follow closely. LV Xingzhou curled the corner of his mouth and looked in front of him sinisterly. Baiye's whole body was weak. She was brought into the limousine by Gu Lingqing. She leaned against the door. Her muscles were tense and her fists were clenched. Her whole body was trembling. She restrained, and restrained again. However, her body was in turmoil. She couldn't take it anymore. Chief. Gu Lingqing's man got into the driver's seat. Gu Lingqing held the chair tightly. The sweat on his face was dripping down. He said sternly, Go to the hotel. Pay attention to whether there's anyone following us. Yes. His man saw the unusual redness on the chief's face. He also felt that something was wrong. He immediately drove. Baiyu really couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to die right now. Waves of emotions rushed to her abdomen. She gritted her teeth. She turned around and kissed Gu Lingqing's lips. At that moment, sparks flew everywhere. He used all his willpower to resist, but the person who kissed him was the woman he had always loved. Chapter 292. This kiss was out of control. It was like Tianlei and Hellfire, Hylon and the beach, rock and silk. Their breathing became heavier and heavier. They forgot the time, the occasion, the identity, and the environment they were in. Gu Lingqing pressed Baiyu down on the chair. She wrapped her legs around his strong waist and closed the distance between them. Gu Lingqing's men noticed something strange and looked at the rearview mirror. You don't want your eyes anymore, Gu Lingqing said sternly. Look ahead and drive your car. His men didn't dare to look. They sat upright, looked straight ahead, and held the steering wheel tightly. Gu Lingqing pulled down the curtain of the right window and sat in the chair. He held Baiyu with one hand and pulled down the curtain of the left window when she sat in his arms. Staff Officer Zhong didn't expect that the chief, who was in the Forbidden Valley, would be so confused. He could not see with his eyes, but he was not deaf. Their passionate voices mixed into seductive music, which made people blush and their hearts beat faster. He took a deep breath, swallowed his saliva, and took another deep breath. Fortunately, he had a strong willpower. Otherwise, at this time, he really wanted to find his fifth young lady. Baiyu held Gu Lingqing's back with both hands, her face close to his, and her chin on Gu Lingqing's shoulder. She knew that the current situation was not right, but the drug in her body had gone beyond her reason. Like a person falling into the sea, she would involuntarily grab the driftwood around her and hold on tightly. After he came once, she still held him tightly and didn't want to let go, because she hadn't reached the place she wanted to go. The desire to survive consumed her reason. She took the initiative to kiss his earlobe, but she hated herself for this behavior. Why did she do this? What went wrong? She turned her face away and clenched her fists. Gu Lingqing pinched her chin and made her face him. Baiya stared at him. Her eyes were misty with tears, as well as the hallucinations because of the unrequited love. Out of embarrassment, he lowered his eyes awkwardly. However, this embarrassment could not suppress the surging of his blood. More, Gu Lingqing saw the clues. He guessed that the problem was with the last 5 grains. He had only taken a few sips, but he could already feel the strong need. She had finished a big cup. Baiya leaned on his shoulder and said softly, "I feel terrible." As soon as she spoke, she realized that her voice sounded sweet, like the soft words of Wu Nong, with a hint of pleading. Staff Officer Zhong, take a big detour before returning to the hotel. Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes, Staff Officer Zhong replied and cleared his throat. Baiya was so ashamed that she couldn't show her face. Although others couldn't see anything, they were in the car and his men were driving. If she was sober, she would rather die than do such a thing. He let her lean against the driver's seat. Baiya subconsciously pushed his hand away, but she felt uncomfortable. In this tug-of-war he had the dominant advantage. 10 minutes later, Baiya had no strength left, and the effects of the drug gradually weakened with the outbreak. However, in the end he still wanted her. He carried her back to the hotel and put her on his bed. She didn't want to move at all. Boss, the pigeon has returned to its nest with its prey. LV Xingzhou's men reported. LV Xingzhou's lips twitched. Move. He took the room card that he stole from the waiter and opened the presidential suite where Gu Lingqing lived. He saw Gu Lingqing sitting in front of the computer and Staff Officer Zhong standing beside him. The reporter was shocked. What? It was different from the scene he had imagined. Fu Yuhuang's sharp gaze swept over the reporter, and he was secretive. Who are you? How did you get in? Staff Officer Zhong asked sternly. Oh, I'm from Jinyuan Daily. I'm here for an interview with Ms. Bai. Is she here? The reporter asked with a smile. He had already prepared his lines. She wasn't in this presidential suite. How did you find her here? Staff Officer Zhong asked suspiciously. I've been waiting at the door and saw you carry her in, the reporter explained with a pale face. Since you know she was carried in, you should know that she doesn't have the energy to do an interview now. Oh, I'll come back later. The reporter wanted to leave. Wait, Gu Lingqing said. The reporter's back was stiff. He slowly turned around and Fu Yuhuang was already standing in front of him. Fu Yuhuang stared at him and ordered, "Call the police." You're from Jinyuan Daily, right? Yes. Staff Officer Zhong made the call. Seeing that he had been exposed, the reporter quickly ran out. Gu Lingqing grabbed the reporter and threw him to the ground. He took out a gun and shot at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing dodged the bullet. Bang! Baiya opened her eyes wide in panic and got out of bed. She opened the door and saw the reporter at the door. The reporter also saw Baiya. He raised his gun and aimed at Baiya and pulled the trigger. Gu Lingqing saw the reporter raise his gun at Baiya. At the critical moment he closed the door. The bullet hit the door. Go in, Gu Lingqing said to Baiya. Baiya was worried about Gu Lingqing. She didn't go in. Instead, she ran to his side and held his arm. She said firmly, I'll be with you. Gu Lingqing looked at her gently. This sentence, I'll be with you, was better than thousands of words and thousands of mountains and rivers. He pulled her to the back of the sofa and held her back. Lie down. Baiya had a very familiar feeling. She remembered that when they first met, he also protected her like this. He was full of masculinity and injected a trace of warmth into her cold heart. If she died to protect him today, she would be satisfied. Gu Lingqing originally wanted to catch the reporter, but because of her, he couldn't take the risk. He signaled to Staff Officer Zhong. Staff Officer Zhong opened the door. The reporter had already run away. After confirming that there was no danger, he signaled to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing didn't let down his guard. He got up first and went to the door. After patrolling outside, he went to Baiya and helped her up. Who is that person? Why does he want to kill you? Baiya asked worriedly. After asking, he realized that he had asked the wrong question. It might be related to his military secrets. He changed his words. You are an important leader of the country. How dare you take a soldier out for a stroll? Hurry up and go back. That person's target should be us, not just me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya furrowed her brows. What do you mean? Gu Lingqing's face was a little flushed, and his voice was a little hoarse. Do you still remember what happened in the car just now? Baiya. Chapter 293. She was very embarrassed. She turned around with her back facing Gu Lingqing and mumbled softly, I think I ate something bad. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her into his arms. LV Xingzhou drugged the food. Baiya was surprised and turned to look at Gu Lingqing. His face was right next to hers. When she turned her head, she accidentally touched his face. Her lips seemed to have an electric current flashing through them. She felt her heart palpitating. She wanted to calm herself down as soon as possible, and not let the throbbing affect her thoughts. Other than you, I drank the food. LV Biao drank it too. LV Biao is LV Xingzhou's son. He wouldn't harm his son too, would he? Gu Lingqing did not say anything. He looked at Baiya with a burning gaze. Baiya confirmed this information from his determined gaze. She guessed. That person just now was also sent by LV Xingzhou? Gu Lingqing nodded. I think so. He used the room card to open my room door. He probably wanted to take a photo of you and me. He didn't see you and lied that he was from a news agency. I said I was going to call the police, so he shot me in desperation. Why did he do that? He took a photo of me and you. Baiya paused. She did not say the sensitive words at the end. It was as if her heart would become sensitive if she touched those sensitive words. What good does he have? Although I did not make it public when I was in trouble, those who paid attention would still know about it. LV Xingzhou also thought that the piece of land I requisitioned had treasures. Moreover, he suspected that I was here to investigate him because of Tang Xiaojiu's incident. So, he had to chase me away. As for you, he thought that you were too smart, so he wanted to deal with you together. He purposely asked if we were in a relationship during the dinner party. He wanted to confirm the feasibility of his plan. If he took a picture of us, he would have something to use against us. That way, he would be able to put us in danger and buy himself some insurance, Gu Lingqing analyzed. Baiya felt that Gu Lingqing's analysis was correct, and said solemnly, I'm afraid that the reason why LV Xingzhou wants to kill me is because he's worried that I'll find out that he was the one who killed Zhang Chuanxia's family, and that he was the one who killed the assassin he hired. You're saying that LV Xingzhou killed Zhang Chuanxia's family? Do you have any proof? There's no evidence, it's all just my guess. LV Xingzhou had the culprit purposely record the video so that the police wouldn't suspect LV Biao, but he didn't expect LV Biao to go to the scene and take away the phone. The police arrested Lu Biao, but Lu Biao didn't say anything, and there was no video found at the scene. LV Xingzhou guessed that LV Biao had taken it. He knew LV Biao, so he found LV Biao's hidden phone and saw the recording. In order not to implicate his son, he sent someone else to kill the murderer, and wrote down the whole process of the crime to clear LV Biao's name. Baiya analyzed. We can't convict him without evidence, right? Baiya thought of Xing Bachuan and Su Jieran. They had done many wrong things, and indeed, there was no retribution yet. As for Baiya, she didn't do anything wrong, but she didn't have long to live. Baiya removed Gu Lingqing's hand from her waist. I'm going back. Xiaoya, are you still not willing to be with me? Gu Lingqing looked down at her, and asked in a low voice. Baiya recalled what happened in the car and her face flushed. She lowered her head and said softly, what happened in the car wasn't my intention, so just forget about it. You're going to get married soon too. You actually believe such a lie? Gu Lingqing looked down at her and said. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. It's a lie? Gu Lingqing gently rubbed her head. Because of me, Su Jieran forced you too much. Only when I'm going to get married and stay away from you can you have space to breathe. Baiya understood. He was thinking for her. Her heart was sour, and her eyes were also bitter. She wanted to say a lot of words, but they were choked in her throat. He had no future with her. Su Jieran and I are already a couple. Baya said cruelly. I know you have feelings for me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to my side as soon as I was injured. When we met an assassin, you wouldn't have stood by my side without hesitation. Gu Lingqing said with certainty. You were injured because I used to be a doctor, so I came to your side. When we met an assassin, I stood by your side without hesitation because I felt safe enough by your side. Baya explained. Because of her guilty conscience, she didn't even dare to look at Gu Lingqing. Since you feel safe enough by my side, why can't you come to my side? Do you know how unsafe I feel now? When I sleep, when I work, when I rest, I think about what you are doing. What are you doing with Su Jian? Every time I think about it, I can't breathe. Xiaoya, just like what you said to me just now, I'll be with you. No matter what we go through, it's fine as long as we're together. I don't care about fame or money. I only care about whether I'm with you or not. Gu Lingqing confessed. Baya trembled all over. His last sentence to her was the most fatal. She raised her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. She saw pain and affection in his eyes. She could give him her body and her heart, but she couldn't give him anything when they were together. Her life was in someone else's hands. If he stayed with her for one more day, he would only suffer one more day. I'm sorry, Gu Lingqing. Thank you for still liking me so much, but I don't want to be with you. I'm afraid of trouble. I'm afraid of being annoyed. Once I encounter something that makes me agitated or in pain, my mental state won't be too good. When I'm with you, I have to take psychotropic drugs and sleeping pills every day. I'm about to collapse and I can't bear it. After leaving you, my mood has calmed down a lot, and I don't need to take drugs and sleeping pills. I'm selfish. Compared to being with you, I want to be healthy more. Baya rejected coldly. What if I can create a peaceful sky for you? Gu Lingqing locked his gaze on her and asked. You're saying if to? We'll talk about it when the peaceful sky appears. However, I advise you not to work hard. In fact, I haven't known you for a long time. It's easy to forget the feelings of 10 years, let alone the two of us who don't love each other deeply. Baya said coldly. The words not love each other deeply were enough to send him to hell. Why did he feel that he had already fallen in love with her so deeply that he wanted to give up everything for her and take her abroad? He didn't want to be a general anymore. He just wanted to be an ordinary office worker who could support her and their child. Chapter 294. Baya went back to her room in a daze. The last 4 words that Gu Lingqing said kept lingering in her mind. I will never abandon you in this life. She sat on the sofa and stared blankly at the air. It seemed that God was kind to her to be loved like this. She had always been self-centered and felt that she was pitiful. God had never been kind to her. Now thinking about it, it was not her who was more pitiful, but Gu Lingqing. She closed her eyes, and everything in the world had nothing to do with her anymore. But what about Gu Lingqing? What should he do? She lived alone, without a lover to accompany her. She lived like this for 6 years. As long as she thought of the person she loved, she would feel sad and suffocated. The air was thin. That kind of desolation came from her heart. Even in a lively environment, she forgot how to smile. What should Gu Lingqing do? Her heart was very painful, so painful that it almost twitched. She lay on the sofa and curled up her body. She had hated herself before. Why didn't she hypnotize her memory of Gu Lingqing when she was hypnotized? In that way, she would not have fallen in love with Gu Lingqing, and she would not have felt pain, entanglement and heartache. Now thinking about it, if she didn't remember Gu Lingqing would be more pitiful. This was the reason why she didn't hypnotize her heart at that time. In the past, Baya loved Gu Lingqing deeply. Now Baya still loved Gu Lingqing deeply. In fact, hypnosis didn't change anything except for curing her own mental problems. She lay quietly for 2 hours. When she heard the doorbell, she didn't want to move. She just wanted to lie quietly like this and slowly ease the heartache. But the person outside didn't seem to have the idea of giving up and kept pressing the doorbell. Baya still didn't want to open it. It was quiet outside for a while. Suddenly, she heard the sound of ticking, and the door was opened. She got up in surprise and looked at the door. Su Jian dragged his suitcase and stood at the door. Seeing her, his eyes were dark and unclear, as if he was examining and waiting for something. Standing next to him was the room manager. When the room manager saw Baya, she smiled and explained, "He said that he's your boyfriend. We pressed the doorbell for a long time, and thought that you weren't here." "I fell asleep," Baya explained and stood up. "Why are you here?" "What? You don't welcome me?" Sujiran asked in return. The corners of his mouth curled up as he dragged his luggage towards her. "Indeed, I'm not very welcome here," Baya said bluntly. "You can always make my unhappy mood even more unhappy. This hasn't changed in the past 6 years." As Sujiran spoke, he walked in front of her. "So you still insist on being with a woman like me, who doesn't know how to be cultured?" Baya said coldly. 10 years to grind away a slut. We haven't even been together for 7 years. "Let's see if I can grind away my slut in 10 years, Sujiran said in a deep voice. His expression was very serious, and he did not seem to be joking. Since he was so self-deprecating, Baya had nothing to say. "I'm going to the police station in a while." Baya changed her words. "You don't look well. Are you not feeling well?" Sujiran's tone softened. Baya shook her head. "You know the condition of my body. All right, I won't talk about it anymore. You can do whatever you want." Baya picked up her bag and went out. She walked to the side of the road to get a taxi. When the wind blew, it was a little cold, and she shivered. "Baya." Chinbin's car stopped in front of her. Baya looked at Chinbin. "What a coincidence. Why are you here?" "I'm here to look for you. Get in the car," Chinbin said with a heavy expression. Baya guessed that he had thought it through. She got into the passenger seat and put on the seatbelt. "I thought about what you said before, and I feel that it does make sense. Could it be that Zhang Chuanxia's family blackmailed the Liu family again, wanting to buy the villa, and the Liu family was so angry that they sent an assassin? Then, when the assassin was about to be caught, they ordered someone to kill the assassin." Chinbin guessed. Baya nodded. "If that's the case, then I can't find anything unreasonable about it. Is there any evidence?" Chinbin frowned. He looked ahead, and his eyes flashed with a strange light. "No. If there is, your police station would have gone to arrest them. This case will probably cause a stir in the whole of country, eh?" Baya looked ahead with flagging interest. "Then what should we do? We can't let the assassin get away with it, right?" Chenbin said worriedly. Baya looked at him. "Heaven's Net has a long way to go. Didn't you and I already know the truth? Now that we've gathered all the information about the assassin, maybe the turning point is right in front of us." Chenbin clenched his fists and looked at Baya. His gaze was a little strange. It seemed to be heartache, reluctance, and mixed with complicated feelings. "What's wrong?" Baya noticed Chenbin and asked, puzzled. "I feel sorry for LV Biao. He was born in that kind of family." Chenbin frowned. Maybe this is what he should bear. After all, he's really stronger than Zhang Chuanxia. It's not that he doesn't want revenge, it's just that it's not time yet. Baya sighed. "Do you think there's really retribution in this world?" Chinbin asked, looking at Baya. "There should be. It's because of this that more people control their actions, right?" "Yes. Do you want some water?" Chinbin asked. Baya shook her head and looked out of the window. "I don't want to drink. You don't seem to be going in the direction of the police station. I'll bring you somewhere," Chinbin said. Baya subconsciously put up her guard. "Where are we going?" Chinbin found a tree shade and stopped the car by the roadside. He looked at Baya. "Do you know why I was transferred to Jinyuan City to be the bureau chief? My previous job has nothing to do with this." "Why?" Baya had a bad feeling. "I'm LV Xingzhou's man," Chinbin said. Baya did not expect this. She turned around and tried to open the car door, but Chinbin had already locked the door. He took out a handkerchief from the cabinet, sprayed it with ether, and covered Baya's nose. Baya quickly held her breath and looked at Chinbin incredulously with her horrified eyes. Chinbin did not let go. He continued to cover her nose and said regretfully, "I'm sorry. I just found out that the murderer was LV Xingzhou. He called me and asked me to kidnap you. If I didn't do that, not only would I lose my position, but my family and friends as well." I didn't expect that you would be the one transferred from the top to help us solve the case. I thought we were fated. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have offended Governor LV. The power behind him is beyond your imagination. Chapter 295. After an unknown amount of time, she opened her eyes. The sky was already dark and she couldn't see anything. Her hands and feet were tied with ropes. She felt her body was floating. It should be on the surface of the water. Xiaoya, Xiaoya. She heard Gu Lingqing's voice and thought she was hearing things. Did she miss Gu Lingqing too much? Xiaoya, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice came again. She heard it clearly and quickly replied, I'm here, Gu Lingqing, Gu Lingqing. The light from the phone's flashlight shone in. Gu Lingqing opened the lid of the wooden box. Baiya saw Gu Lingqing and asked in surprise, Why are you here? Gu Lingqing untied the ropes on Baiya's body and explained, It's a long story. Let's leave here first. Chen Bin is still outside. Chen Bin is outside. Baiya panicked. She held Gu Lingqing's hand and said anxiously, Chen Bin is LV Xingzhou's man. He was the one who kidnapped me and brought me here. What? Gu Lingqing sensed the danger. He heard a swoosh outside and opened the window. A flash of fire came. He didn't have time to think. He held Baiya's hand and jumped out of the window. With a bang, the bomb exploded on the boat. Then there were 9 deafening explosions. The boat was blown into pieces and sank. Gu Lingqing was shocked. Many things flashed in his mind. He had a terrible headache. He shook his head and tried not to think about it. He felt the pain and looked at Baiya, who was also shocked. Wait for me here. Baiya held Gu Lingqing's hand. There were only the two of them on the vast sea. She knew that she would soon be exhausted and drown in the sea. At this time, she did not want to be separated from him. Even if she died, she wanted to be together with him. We're running out of time. I'll come up and tell you later. Gu Lingqing said anxiously and then went downstream. She was the only one on the surface of the sea. It was pitch black all around, and she couldn't see any cameras. She seemed to have seen this scene before in her dreams. She was the only one in the world, facing endless loneliness and darkness. She remembered the self-rescue strategies she had seen on TV after falling into the sea. She took off her trousers and twirled them around to absorb the air. She tied a knot at the trouser legs and tightened the waistband around her neck. According to the video, this kind of simple swimming ring could last for 2 hours. What about 2 hours later? This should be the deep sea. Even if they were not eaten by sharks, they would starve to death or die of thirst. After waiting for a long time, Gu Lingqing did not come out. Was there a need for her to survive alone? 7 minutes later, a large piece of wood floated beside him. Baiya was shocked. Gu Lingqing came out of the water, gasping for breath. Gu Lingqing. She smiled happily when she saw him coming out. With him by her side, even if she was in hell, she would feel warm. Gu Lingqing smiled at Baiya. We're very lucky. There's no wind today. You hold this board first. I'll connect the other boards. Okay, Baiya replied. She could not see Gu Lingqing anymore when he swam, but she could hear the sound of him swimming in the water. She knew that he was by her side. She put on her trousers and lay on the board. Her mood was unusually calm. Half an hour later, Gu Lingqing connected the other 3 boards with a rope and swam towards her. I'll tie your board to the bottom. I'll tie the last board to the bottom, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. It was rare for him to smile. At this moment, his smile made her feel very relieved. I'll help you. Gu Lingqing nodded. Come here and press on the board on my side. Try to press down and let the other side rise. Okay. Baiya swam to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing swam to her side. She tried to press down, but her strength was too little. She was almost lying on one side of the board. Gu Lingqing pressed on the board on his side and came up from the ground. They succeeded on the first try. Gu Lingqing tied the rope to the board. Why do you have so many ropes? Baiya asked curiously. I saw some inside when I was looking for you. In addition, other than the wooden box that they used to store you, the bed and the wine barrel are all made of wood. Unfortunately, the wine barrel was blown into pieces and has no value. You go up first, Gu Lingqing explained. Okay. Baya climbed to the top of the board and lay on her stomach. She didn't dare to move, afraid that she would roll down and burden Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing climbed up and pulled out a few plastic bags from the water. What are these? Baya was surprised. There was a water dispenser on the ship. There was still more than half of the water in the big bucket on the water dispenser. Unfortunately, it was blown up. I found 3 bottles of mineral water. We can use it for a few days if we save it. Also, I took all the empty mineral water bottles. They can be used to make distilled water. And some other things. All sorts of things are still hanging down there. I took everything that I could take. Maybe it will be useful, Gu Lingqing explained. You did so many things in just a few minutes. Baya was impressed. She didn't admire soldiers, but she felt that it was amazing. Holding my breath is not my strong point. Usually, I can do it for 7 to 8 minutes. There's an Italian Guinness Book winner, David Molini, who can hold his breath for 20 minutes and 55 seconds. Won't you die if you don't breathe for 20 minutes and 55 seconds? Baya was very surprised. This requires special training. There's a group of sea women who live by the sea. They can hold their breath for 3 minutes on average. When they go to the bottom of the sea to salvage, they can also hold their breath for 7 to 8 minutes. However, they are afraid that it will burden their bodies, so they are not allowed to do it. Have you also undergone special training? Baya tilted her head and asked him. Although she had known him for a long time, she never asked about his military affairs. Yes. It's necessary for combat, Gu Lingqing responded. Some scenes flashed in his mind, and he looked down. That time, he went out to carry out a mission. When he boarded the ship, he was recognized by the other party as Gu Lingqing. They fought. The other party was outnumbered and ignited all the cereal bombs on the ship. He jumped into the sea and was hit in the head by a part of the ship. He fainted and held his breath for more than 8 minutes. He was rescued, but part of his memory was lost. Gu Lingqing, Baya shouted. Gu Lingqing came back to his senses and looked at Baya. That day, in order to test him, those people captured Baya, saying that she was Gu Lingqing's girlfriend. When he left, he ordered his men to save her in a roundabout way. At that time, she was investigating Luliang City in Jinyang City, while he was investigating the serial bomb case in Jinyuan City. The serial bomb case was because someone used a serial bomb during Blue Wolf's drill, causing 8 soldiers of Blue Wolf to suffer different degrees of injuries. The murderer who used the serial bomb was Miller. At that time, Miller did not die. After recognizing him, he drove the yacht and left early. Chapter 296. Baya was a little dazed. She didn't understand what he meant at that moment. I said, I found all my lost memories, explained Gu Lingqing. He looked at Baya's expression. You didn't tell those people that I'm Gu Lingqing on purpose. It's because I met an old rival during my mission, and he recognized me. Baya stared at Gu Lingqing. Many complicated thoughts flashed through her mind. It was hope. It was touching. It was because all her grievances had found a place to belong. It was also a sense of loss and gloom. He had regained his memories. Before this, she really wanted him to. He remembered everything in their past. The sweet, the sad, and the hard work they had together. Now, what could she do after knowing? Baya turned around and looked into the distance. A gust of wind blew over. It was very cold. She shivered. Gu Lingqing hugged her from behind. His warm body temperature surrounded her instantly. Her back stiffened, still vaguely resisting something. Xiaoya, do you know how long the ship has been sailing for? Asked Gu Lingqing softly. What? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion. Her heart trembled violently when she met his affectionate gaze. We sailed for more than 6 hours and found you. We're in the deep sea now, explained Gu Lingqing. She guessed that they were in the deep sea. If they were by the sea, LV Xingzhou would have blown them up. The sound would be too loud. Only in the deep sea could they be undetected. LV Xingzhou is indeed ruthless, but he seems to have underestimated your ability to survive. Baya smiled bitterly. Gu Lingqing held her chin and lowered his head. Baya stepped back subconsciously. Pain flashed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. If we can't go back anymore and die on this sea, you still won't open your heart to me? With your ability, we will definitely be able to go back, right? Your chief of staff will also carry out a search and rescue operation after seeing that you have disappeared for a few days, Baya said with certainty. I know something happened to you, so I was in a hurry to come out. Chimbin sent my men away. Even if they come to rescue us, they won't know that something happened to us at sea. Do you think they will come to rescue us at sea? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Gu Lingqing, trying to find traces of lying on his face, but there was none. Will we die at sea? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing looked down at her. I might die, I might not. I don't want to die with regrets. Xiaoye, you still love me, right? She really didn't want to. She didn't want to struggle anymore. Pushing him away again and again was very tiring. She did not know what tomorrow would bring. Salvation or death. At the very least, he could maintain his current peace of mind. Is there any reason why I don't like you? In order not to marry Su Xiaoling and protest to your parents, you cut off your little finger. In order not to marry Zhou Hailan, you lost your house and money, Baya said. Her eyes were red. It sounded like she was scolding him, but her tone was touched. When Gu Lingqing heard that she did not deny it, he smiled. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. Once, twice, thrice. He pushed in and kissed her for a long time. The sky started to turn white. Baya leaned into his arms and looked at the sky. The red sun rose from the horizon. It dyed the surrounding clouds red and slowly jumped out of the water. What a beautiful, pure sunrise, Baya exclaimed. Gu Lingqing chuckled. Baya looked up at him. What are you laughing at? He lowered his head and kissed her. The sun is beautiful now because it's still far away from us. In fact, it's very dangerous to be baked at sea. After a day, your face will get sunburned. Yeah, Baya replied. This was her first time drifting on the sea. She had watched a survival show before, but she had forgotten the details. Gu Lingqing pulled out a parasol from under the boat and opened it. You even have this? Baya exclaimed. I think the owner of the boat used it to rest at the bow. I think it will be useful, so I took it. We'll go with the direction of the wind. Gu Lingqing fixed the parasol horizontally on the boat. Baya helped. After he was done, he spread the net into the sea and put it away. When the net was put away, there were indeed fish. There were more than 10 of them. They were not big, just a little thicker than a thumb. Baya was surprised. There are really fish? Gu Lingqing smiled. Later, I'll use a mineral water bottle to make distilled water. If it's successful, we won't die after floating on the sea for more than 10 days. More than 10 days? Baya pondered. Gu Lingqing scratched her nose. What are you thinking about? Tomorrow's matter was too far away for her. She did not want to think about it anymore. Even if she only had more than 10 days to live, she wanted to spend it happily with him. What should we do with the fish? Eat it raw? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing pulled out a large net bag from below. He opened the seal and took out 2 pots, a kitchen knife, and a chopping board. Baya was surprised. You took everything? There are only 2 good pots. I wanted to take a few more, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya smiled. Why do I feel like I can spend the rest of my life on this boat? You can think about it. Anyway, you're an obstetrician and you've delivered babies before. However, I'm worried that the boat is too small. We can have 1 or 2 babies, but if we have more, the boat won't be able to accommodate us, Gu Lingqing joked. Baya smiled faintly. She knew that Gu Lingqing was joking. It was a sunny day now. When the storm came, it would not be easy for the 2 of them to survive. Gu Lingqing washed the fish. Let me do it. I'm good at this. You can catch more fish. It's just right for the pot. Catch more in case of emergencies, Baya said as she took the kitchen knife from Gu Lingqing's hand. She cleaned the fish. Gu Lingqing kept catching fish. After 3 hours, the pot was full. Baya washed the fish clean. However, she did not know how to eat it. It smelled fishy. Gu Lingqing glanced at Baya and joked. If I knew, I would have brought some ginger, MSG cooking wine, soy sauce, and mustard. Baya was amused by Gu Lingqing. Maybe the environment is not that bad. Maybe I'm not hungry enough. When I'm about to faint from hunger, I think I can even eat a pot, let alone raw fish. I've got an idea. Gu Lingqing poured all the washed fish into a plastic bag and put the pot under the sun. She looked at the sky. I think after an hour, the temperature of the pot will reach 60 degrees Celsius. It's still possible to roast the fish. Chapter 297. Oh right, you haven't slept since last night. Sleep for a while and I'll watch over you. Baiya sat up and said. You didn't sleep last night either. I can stay up for a few days. You sleep first, Gu Lingqing said softly. I've been sleeping. You sleep. I want to enjoy the sea breeze and look at the blue sky and white clouds. Baiya patted his leg. Gu Lingqing smiled. His eyes were filled with love. He didn't refuse anymore and lay down beside Baiya. He put his right arm behind his head and didn't lean on Baiya's leg. He was afraid that she would be tired. Baiya looked at his strong facial features. When he was asleep, his lips were tightly pursed, like an elegant prince. God was actually kind to her. Although her life was short and she went through hardships, she was given such a good man. Gu Lingqing was too tired. Actually, after they separated, he had been insomnia and fell asleep soon. Baiya looked at the blue sky and white clouds, enjoying the moment. After some time, she felt a little sleepy and closed her eyes. After some time, she smelled the delicious smell of grilled fish and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing had grilled more than 10 fish and was almost done. Sorry, I fell asleep too, Baiya apologized. It's okay, you didn't fall into the water, Gu Lingqing said with a smile and passed the pot to her. Try it. Baiya smelled it. The fishy smell was much less. It was the natural smell of fish. She pinched a little and put it in her mouth. It's delicious. Seawater is salty. This kind of fish has its own taste and is high in minerals. Eat more. Gu Lingqing continued to grill. He didn't use a spatula and used a knife to turn the fish over. Baiya was at the side, quietly deboning the fish. Gu Lingqing grilled half of the fish and prepared a lot of meat. Gu Lingqing didn't take it. He took another whole fish and ate it. All the bones here are deboned. Baiya reminded. You eat, I'll do it myself. I'm done. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. She longed for him to eat the fish she had cooked. He ate the fish she had cooked. Baiya showed a happy smile, and he also smiled with her. Don't give it to me. Eat it yourself. All right, Baiya replied. After eating, Gu Lingqing threaded the rest of the fish with a thread and put it on the parasol. Firstly, it could dry in the sun, and secondly, it could block a little more sunlight. Previously, he used a few mineral water bottles to make distilled water. It was very easy to make. He took a mineral water bottle, cut off the head of the bottle according to the ratio of 1/3, and then inverted it into a 2/3 cup of mineral water. Then he poured seawater into the 2/3 cup of mineral water. The bottom of the mineral water bottle was removed and placed on top of it in a sealed state. When the sun shone on the seawater in the mineral water bottle, the water would evaporate. If it couldn't get out, it would condense into distilled water and fall back down. Unfortunately, there was no ice, and he couldn't use fire. Otherwise, it would be easy to get the distilled water. Gu Lingqing looked at the distilled water he made, and then looked at the time on his watch. It had been more than 5 hours, and he had only made 1 bottle cap. It was too little. He could only take a sip a day. A normal person's intake of water was at least 1,200 milliliters a day. It was simply not enough. Xiaoya, Gu Lingqing called out, looking troubled. What's wrong? Well, if you want to go on a smuff, the thing we lack the most on the sea is water, Gu Lingqing explained implicitly. Baiya instantly understood. She blushed and looked down. This she had watched an adventure show before. The adventurer in the show was called Belle. He really ate everything. Deer feces, maggots on dead mice, and the placenta of animals that had started to rot. Before she even started to reach that kind of desperate situation, her stomach already felt uncomfortable. She lay on the wooden plank. Gu Lingqing could see the rejection in her heart. Drink some water first. We'll talk about it later. What time is it now? Baiya changed the topic. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. 4:20 in the afternoon. Baiya did not say anything. She looked at the sky in a daze. Gu Lingqing supported the side of her head with one hand. What are you thinking about? I planned a lot of things for me in the past, but the plans can't keep up with the changes. Now we can't do anything. If we think too much, we will only get more and more irritated. Who knows, we might not live past a week. Baiya sighed. If we can only live for a week, what do you want to do? Gu Lingqing asked seriously. Baiya twitched the corner of her mouth. It seems like we can't do anything on the sea. I think it's good this way. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and looked at her affectionately. At least, we are together. There were a few times when I really wanted to kidnap you. Oh right. What did you promise Su Jiran so that he would let me go? Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing with many complicated thoughts flashing through her eyes. She did not want to tell him that she was infected with the virus. What if she was saved? What awaited Gu Lingqing was despair. He asked you to divorce me and marry Zhou Hailan, Baiya said briefly. What else? Gu Lingqing did not believe it. Su Jiran is the commander-in-chief. He specializes in investigating the private lives of the officials. He reports directly to the president, Baiya explained. I know. I've always suspected that his identity isn't as simple as directly belonging to the president. It's just that he's very cautious in doing things, and I couldn't find any clues. In addition, you don't have to worry about Lu Shuang. I've already ordered them to immediately rescue Lu Shuang if they find him. Even if I am not there, they will rescue Lu Shuang. Baiya breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. I think there is no need to thank me between us, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Well, you sleep a little longer. I really won't sleep this time. We will take turns to stay up late. Baiya sat up. Okay. Gu Lingqing lay down and closed his eyes to rest. Baiya looked at the sea in a daze. When Gu Lingqing woke up again, the sun had already set. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya shook his head. He did not want to talk because he was thirsty. He checked the fish on the parasol. It had been dried. Gu Lingqing handed the mineral water to Baiya. Baiya shook his head. He wanted to save as much water as possible. Drink it. It will rain tonight. We have enough water, but the wind and waves will be very strong. For safety, I will tie one of your hands to the plank. You will lie down close to the plank. Do you understand? Gu Lingqing said and closed the parasol. How do you know it will rain? Baiya asked in confusion. Gu Lingqing pointed at the sky. It was very dark in the distance. Baiya did not speak again. He was faintly afraid. Gu Lingqing tied the parasol under the plank. The other things were put in mesh bags or plastic bags and tied under the plank. He only put the empty mineral water bottle in one of the big pots. Chapter 298. With him around, there was nothing to be afraid of. If you fasten it for me, what about you? Baiya was worried. I'll be fine. If the plank turns over, I'll have to adjust it in time, Gu Lingqing said thoughtfully. If the wind and waves are too strong, your swimming speed won't be able to keep up with the speed of the waves. Baiya was worried. Without a plank, Gu Lingqing would die no matter how long she held her breath. I'll tie a very long rope to my hand. That way, I won't fall into the sea. Gu Lingqing saw Baiya's worry and comforted her. Can you fasten it firmly? Gu Lingqing smiled. Military buckles. The stronger the wind and waves, the more secure it is. How about the rope? Is it strong? These are specially used by fishermen. They are the strongest. Don't worry. It'll be fine, Gu Lingqing said firmly. Then hold my hand. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. Gu Lingqing liked what she said. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. The heavy rain came a little later than she had expected. The sea breeze came before the heavy rain, and it was stronger than she had imagined. She held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly, while Gu Lingqing's other hand held the pot tightly. Don't worry about the pot. You're in danger, Baiya said worriedly. We don't have enough water. This pot of water can last us for a few days. You don't want to drink it either, right? Gu Lingqing insisted. I don't care about anything else except your safety, Baiya said. Because of what you said, I have to ensure our safety. I have a clear mind. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing promised. They floated in the wind and waves for more than half an hour before it started to rain heavily. Xiaoya, stick close to the plank. Don't move, Gu Lingqing reminded again. Baiya stuck close to the wooden plank. His other hand grabbed the plank tightly. He closed his eyes and held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly with his other hand. The rain pattered on her body. It was very heavy, and soon, her hair was all wet. Gu Lingqing released her hand. Baiya was startled when he saw Gu Lingqing half-squatting and pouring rainwater into the pot. Baiya was worried that he would be knocked down by the wind and waves, so she held his arm tightly. Gu Lingqing quickly filled the bottle and put it into the net bag. A strong wind came. He poured out the water in the pot and covered Baiya's head with the pot. She lay down. The wooden planks were pushed to a very high height by the waves. Suddenly, they stopped and the splashing seawater hit them. It was very painful. For the time being, she still had her clothes to protect her. If Gu Lingqing gave her his clothes, he would be in more pain than her. At this moment, the words of concern were stuck in his throat. She couldn't protect him. The only thing she could do was not to be a burden to him anymore. The wooden planks passed through several peaks and then came down. She was really worried that the planks would fall apart. Fortunately, they didn't. She fainted a few times, but after a few seconds, she struggled to wake up. The heavy rain lasted for more than 3 hours. When the wind and waves subsided, Gu Lingqing used the pot to catch some rainwater. What time is it? Baiya asked. She was exhausted. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. It's 1:45. The rain has passed. The wind and waves won't come again for a while. You go to sleep first. I'll keep watch. Baiya actually had a lot to say, but she couldn't take it anymore and fainted. After some time, she heard the crisp sound of seagulls and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing sat on the wooden plank and looked at the flying seagulls thoughtfully. Baiya sat up and asked, if there are seagulls, does it mean that there are islands, beaches, reefs, or ports nearby? The possibility of a port is relatively small, but there should be islands or reefs. Gu Lingqing also analyzed and looked around. Thank God. It's good that there's an island. Baiya muttered to herself. She couldn't bear the heavy rain that lasted more than 3 hours. If a storm came, they would definitely not be able to survive the wind and rain. Gu Lingqing analyzed the direction of the seagulls. If we go with the wind, we will definitely miss the island. He immediately took out the parasol and faced it at a 45-degree angle towards the wind. Baiya didn't understand these things. She just helped him to hold the parasol handle. Do you want to rest? Baiya was worried that he would not be able to take it. Gu Lingqing shook his head. Under normal circumstances, we can reach the island within an hour. It's the most dangerous before we reach the island. Other than the waves, there are sometimes undercurrents. If it's not a beach, it might be a cliff. We can't go up, and it's fatal. It was her first time wandering on the sea. She could only trust Gu Lingqing. The wooden boat sailed for more than half an hour. Baiya really saw an island in the distance. She said excitedly, Gu Lingqing, look, there's an island. It doesn't look small. Have you heard of the Lost Kingdom? Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya didn't understand. What did he mean by saying this at this time? In the past, there was a country. This country was rich in resources and medicinal herbs. However, one day, the sea level rose by a few hundred meters. The island was submerged. None of the people on the island survived. After 100 years, the island surfaced again, but it was already an uninhabited island. After another 100 years, the island was submerged again and again. Gu Lingqing explained. You mean that the island in front is the Lost Kingdom you mentioned? Baiya was shocked. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. I just want to tell you this story. Whether the island will be submerged or not, we'll know once we reach the island. As they got closer to the island, Gu Lingqing adjusted the angle of the parasol. Xiaoya will reach the island in about 10 minutes. The beach on the uninhabited island might be fake. It'll collapse. Don't get off the wooden plank. Gu Lingqing reminded her. Then what about you? Baya asked worriedly. Gu Lingqing nodded and glanced at the parasol. I won't get off the plank. I'll just use this. Do you need me to do anything? Yes. Gu Lingqing scooped up all the things hanging under the wooden plank. He placed them on the plank and tied them together. Look after these things. As they neared the beach, the waves felt bigger than when they were on a calm sponge. When the last wave pushed the plank to the beach, Gu Lingqing used the parasol's strength to push the plank to the dry beach. Baya saw many crabs running around. Crabs? Can these crabs be caught and eaten? Baya was surprised. Of course. However, we'd better build a habitable house on high ground as soon as possible, Gu Lingqing said solemnly. He added, there's wolf feces on the ground. The good news is that this island won't be silent. The bad news is that there are wolves around here. Baya's relaxed mood tensed up again. Chapter 299. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing worriedly. She was not afraid of death, but she was afraid that Gu Lingqing would die. He was already a general at such a young age with outstanding military achievements and a powerful background. He might even become the president in a few years. Because of saving her, he became food for the wolves in the wilderness. It was a little pitiful. Gu Lingqing saw Baya's worry and gently rubbed her cheek. Don't worry. The wolves don't come here every day. We will be fine. Trust me, Gu Lingqing promised. Baya nodded. It was useless for her to be worried. Do you know where this island is? I don't know. There are many islands on the sea. And there are also many islands that no one cares about, especially in the deep sea. Most people will not come here. Even if it is used for military purposes, they will choose a place with convenient geographical conditions. There are no human footprints on the beach here, Gu Lingqing said. He looked around, picked up one of the net bags, and poured out the pot inside. There was a kitchen knife, a dagger, a handgun, and a magazine in the pot. Can your gun still be used? Baya asked, looking at Gu Lingqing with hope. If they had guns, she would feel much safer. Yes. If you are afraid that it can't be used, you can dry it. There are a total of 20 bullets in case of emergencies. What we need to do now is to choose a safe place to sleep. Gu Lingqing threw the dagger to Baya and took the gun and the kitchen knife. When he was about to leave, he looked at the soaked fish. It was dry and smelled. It should still be edible. Xiaoya, dig a hole here. It doesn't need to be too deep, about 10 centimeters. I will pick some leaves and bring it over, Gu Lingqing said. Baya held his hand. I will go with you. Okay. Gu Lingqing wrapped the fish with 4 big leaves. Baya dug the hole. Gu Lingqing put the fish in and covered it with sand. Let's go. Baya followed Gu Lingqing into the forest. Because it was an uninhabited area, the trees grew wildly. They were densely packed, and most of them had large leaves. Gu Lingqing went in while chopping. Baya was helping her from behind, dealing with the fish that had escaped the net. Gu Lingqing chopped out a 1-meter wide and 10-meter long area. He stopped and looked at a tree. What's wrong? Baya asked confusedly. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of his mouth. Even if we don't have guns, we won't be afraid of beasts. Why? This kind of tree is called poison arrowwood. It's the poison mentioned in wuxia novels. Tomorrow, we'll make some bows and arrows. With this, my archery skills will be the best in my army, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya smiled. I have a feeling that we can live in the deep forest for the rest of our lives. Gu Lingqing scratched Baya's nose. If you're accidentally poisoned by the poison arrowwood, the grass below will help you detoxify. Baya sighed. Nature really does counteract each other. Gu Lingqing looked around and pointed at a big tree. We'll set up camp on this tree. Baya looked up. The branches and leaves of the tree were too dense. Will there be snakes up there? Snakes go up to look for food. As long as we clean it, snakes are timid animals and won't come up, Gu Lingqing explained. He quickly climbed up. His posture was strong and his speed was fast. Baya saw him chopping off the extra branches. She couldn't help. She saw a dead plant not far away. It had a lot of fibers. She wanted to tear it into silk and make a rope, so she chopped it down and threw it under the tree. An hour later, Gu Lingqing had chopped off the extra branches on the two trees next to each other. He jumped down from the tree. Baya looked at the tree. Is it too high? It doesn't feel stable. I don't know how to climb trees. Don't worry about that. I'll make a ladder. When the ladder is done, the bark of the tree will fall off. Without the bark, the tree will be smoother. Beasts and the like won't be able to climb up, Gu Lingqing explained. Are we going to move the wooden planks over now? Baya asked. Yes. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked. Baya felt the heat in his rough palms. Her body felt warm too. She hoped that there would be a boat passing by and rescue him. They moved the wooden planks under the tree and split up. Gu Lingqing chose 8 big branches. Baya helped to clean up the side branches. The 2 trees he chose were facing each other. There were a total of 5 big branches, but they were not at the same height. Gu Lingqing first tied the 8 big branches to the 5 big branches to form a balanced plane. Baya thought it was amazing. You should be a master architect. When my brothers and I went on a mission, we built a simple bed like this in the forest. There's nothing else. We were lucky enough to have wooden planks, so this bed should be quite comfortable, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baya thought about sleeping on the same bed with him tonight. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She didn't have this feeling when she was floating on the sea. She lowered her head and continued to weave the rope. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and tied the rope to the middle of the wooden bed. What's wrong? Baya asked, puzzled. You can't lift this wooden plank later. I'll pull it from the top, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya nodded. The position Gu Lingqing chose was too high. It was more than 3 meters high. She was 165 centimeters higher. The width of the bed was 1.6 meters and the length was 1.8 meters. She had to lift it to the top of her head. She probably didn't have enough strength. Gu Lingqing climbed up first. Baya used all her strength. Gu Lingqing pulled the rope and finally put the first wooden plank on the top. He placed it firmly. He even built a 25-degree tilt. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and looked at the time. It was already 12:20 in the afternoon. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya nodded. In fact, her stomach was growling an hour ago. Our fish should be almost ready. Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Baya looked at the beach. Panic flashed in her eyes. She pointed at the beach. What's that black thing? Gu Lingqing followed Baya's gaze and looked over. The corner of her lips curled up slightly. Xiaoya, we're lucky. God sent us food so quickly. That's a wild boar. Gu Lingqing ran over excitedly. Be careful, Baya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing ran over. The wild boar was eating their fish. It heard the noise and turned around. Gu Lingqing took the opportunity to shoot. The bullet was fired at the wild boar's head. The wild boar swayed a few times and fell to the ground motionless. Baya looked at the wild boar on the ground. Although she had eaten pork before, she had never killed a pig. Do you know how to kill a pig? Baya asked Gu Lingqing. Chapter 300. Gu Lingqing was going to skin the wild boar at the beach, because he was worried that the smell of blood would attract more wild beasts. Baya moved a lot of stones and stacked them together. On one side, they could block the sea breeze and make a fire. On the other side they could put a pot. Because it rained last night, many dead trees and leaves were not dry. She carried some and put them on the beach to dry. Gu Lingqing was afraid that she would get sunburned, so he gave her the umbrella to use. He also made a tool to drill wood to make a fire. The way to make it was to drill 2 holes in the wood and put the rope that Baya made into it. Using the principle of rotation, Baya only needed to pull the rope, and the wood would spin quickly. This method was faster than using the palm of the hand, and it was also less laborious. Baya was lucky. It took her more than an hour to make the fire. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing chopped off the wild boar's head and let the blood out. All the blood was put into the pot and poured into the sea. He did not know how to deal with the wild boar's head, so he put it in a plastic bag and prepared to find a place to bury it later. Baya walked towards him. Gu Lingqing cut open the wild boar's stomach and there were a lot of messy things inside. Why don't we just eat the meat and throw away the messy things inside? I don't eat animal organs, Gu Lingqing said to Baiya. Baiya glanced at Gu Lingqing. She knew how to deal with it, but without cooking wine and ginger, these things would probably be very smelly and would not be able to eat. Okay, Baiya replied. Gu Lingqing put all the internal organs together with the boar's head. Well, we need suet, so that we can cook it. Maybe there will be wild vegetables. By the way, keep the pig's heart, Baiya said again. Gu Lingqing. Baiya realized that she had gone back on her words, so she was a little embarrassed and smiled dryly. It was already 15 o'clock in the afternoon, when Gu Lingqing dealt with the wild boar. Baiya went to boil the lard in the wok. Gu Lingqing cut the meat from the wild boar leg into slices for easy stir-frying. They had a pot, oil, and salt, but no spatula. Baiya took a branch and stir-fried it. At 16 o'clock, they finally ate the meat. Let's go pick up more dead wood later. The sun will set in 1 to 2 hours. I'm afraid that it won't dry out, so we have to keep the fire burning throughout the night. On one hand, it will provide light, and on the other hand, it will allow us to see ships passing by at night, said Baiya. Let's just make do with the first day. We'll be able to prepare more things tomorrow. Baiya nodded. Gu Lingqing wrapped the rest of the wild boar meat in a plastic bag and put it on their wooden bed. When they went to the forest to pick up the dead wood, Gu Lingqing brought back the plastic bag containing the wild boar's head, skin, and internal organs. It was very early in the forest. At 16:45 o'clock, there was no light coming in. They did not dare to go too deep. They walked along the beach. When they were about 2 kilometers away, they saw a bamboo forest. Gu Lingqing, look, there's bamboo. Dead bamboo is easier to catch fire than wood, said Baiya excitedly. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and ran. Baiya picked up the dead wood and tied it up with a rope. Gu Lingqing used the bamboo to dig a hole 30 centimeters deep and buried the wild boar in the plastic bag. When they went back, Gu Lingqing chopped the thickest bamboo. Baiya dug up 6 fresh small bamboos, and each of them carried a bundle of bamboos back. The sun slowly went down. The sky was bright red, and the scenery was particularly beautiful. The sea breeze blowing on their faces was particularly comfortable. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing's resolute and cold side profile, and the corner of her mouth slightly raised. If she didn't only have a month to live, she really wanted to live with him on the island for the rest of her life. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya and caught her gaze. Baiya lowered his head guiltily, and his eyes flickered. Gu Lingqing chuckled. Are you going to shower later? Yes. Nowadays, there's a treatment called sea bathing. Seawater contains a lot of minerals such as potassium, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, etc. It can also kill bacteria. Many people use sea bathing to treat skin diseases, weight loss, and beauty. It's said that the fees are very high. Now that I'm here, it's free of charge. Baiya amused himself. Said. I'll give it a try later. Make sure where you can go. Bathing in the sea is good, but it's also very risky. Many people die from swimming in the sea every year, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Yes. They arrived at the previous place. Baiya spread out the bamboo. Although the sun had gone down, the sea breeze could take away the humidity. The bamboo was flammable, so they could use it tonight. However, they might have to come out in the middle of the night to add it a few times. Gu Lingqing went into the water first. He took off his coat and pants, revealing his strong body. Although they had done it many times, she still felt embarrassed. He didn't look at her anymore, and went to move a lot of stones over to strengthen the wind wall. Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing walked towards her with a net bag. Baiya saw that there were many crabs, sea urchins, abalones, and sea cucumbers in the net bag. This place hasn't been developed, so it's rich in resources. There are so many things underneath. I've picked up so many in a short while. We'll have supper tonight, Gu Lingqing said with a smile, and poured all the things into the pot. Baiya was also surprised. She had wanted to spend a holiday by the sea a long time ago. She wanted to enjoy the sea breeze and eat seafood leisurely, without being disturbed by the secular world. Now it had come true, but in such an unintentional way. There's not much fresh water left. Let's use seawater to cook it. After a while, it should be ready to eat, Baya said happily. Okay, I'll cook it. You go take a bath first. You can only swim 20 meters at most. Don't go too far. It's dangerous when it gets dark. Gu Lingqing took another pot and went to the seaside to scoop up water. He took out the sea urchins, sea cucumbers and abalones, and specially cooked the crabs. Baya took off her coat and pants and went to swim. She only swam for 5 minutes and came back. She didn't have any physical strength. If she swam too much, she was afraid that it would be dangerous. Gu Lingqing had already broken the sea urchin. It was the first time that Baya saw this kind of fresh sea urchin. There were 5 small pieces of something that looked like yellow in it. This can be eaten raw. Do you want to eat it? Gu Lingqing passed the broken sea urchin to Baya. Baya took the sea urchin and sat on the stone next to him. She ate a little. It was sticky and a little sweet, but she wasn't used to it. She passed the sea urchin to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing ate all the yellow stuff in one gulp. He ate the remaining 3. Baya saw that he didn't have any strange expression. Is it delicious? Yes, it's quite sweet, Gu Lingqing replied. Then you should eat more. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. Do you know the effects of sea urchins? Seafood and the like are very high in minerals. It's probably calcium and zinc supplements, Baya guessed. Sea urchins contain a lot of structural proteins that are unique to the sex glands of animals, such as lecithin. It's a bioactive substance with male hormones. It can improve one's sex function and intelligence, increase immunity, lower cholesterol, prevent animal sclerosis, and has a very good aphrodisiac effect, Gu Lingqing explained. He said a lot more after that, but Baya didn't hear it clearly. She only remembered improving one's sex function. She cleared her throat awkwardly, turned her face away, and drank some water. Chapter 301. Baya was very nervous. Well, the best things should be done in moderation. Things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Gu Lingqing chuckled and teased. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Well, Baya drew circles with the branch casually. I'm a little tired today. Gu Lingqing laughed even more happily. What are you thinking about? Baya looked at him. Don't you think it's inappropriate for us to wear wet clothes? It's still a little cold at night by the sea, Gu Lingqing said again. Baya. Hee, it's not like I haven't seen it before. Gu Lingqing, who had relaxed, had a wanton smile on his face. Baya felt even more awkward. Forget it for today. I'll use the leaves to make a grass skirt and quilt tomorrow. Gu Lingqing didn't make things difficult for Baya. He laid on the beach comfortably and looked at the stars in the sky. The stars here are very bright. I still remember that I loved to watch stars when I was young. The sky was full of stars at that time. Now it's rare to see a sky full of stars. Baya lay down beside Gu Lingqing. The industrial pollution is very obvious. Many cities have smog. So the seaside, especially the undeveloped seaside, is like a paradise on earth. Gu Lingqing hugged Baya's shoulder. Promise me, even if we're saved from here, we'll never be separated. Baya was silent. The silence made Gu Lingqing flustered. He looked at Baya. Baya responded. His kiss landed on Baya's forehead. He got up and started cutting the new bamboo. What are you doing? Baya asked confusedly and sat up. Making a ladder. This bamboo is 10 meters tall. I will first cut out 2 sections that are about 4 meters tall. Every 50 centimeters, I will make a hole and insert the bamboo pieces into it. Then I can make a ladder. As Gu Lingqing spoke, he worked at the same time. First, he compared 2 sections of bamboo to make a mark at the same height. He split the remaining 2 meters of bamboo from the middle. It was cut into 7 sections, each about 3 centimeters long. Because the higher it was, the thinner the bamboo was, and the bamboo pieces were of different sizes. Therefore, the size of each hole had to be the same as the bamboo piece. Baya helped Gu Lingqing with it. Gu Lingqing was afraid that Baya would cut his hand because it was a slow work and required a certain amount of strength. Use the remaining bamboo to make 2 pairs of chopsticks. That way, I won't have to worry about getting scalded. And, okay. Baya used the remaining bamboo to make 4 pairs of chopsticks and a spatula. Gu Lingqing looked at the chopsticks made by Baya and laughed. Are the extra chopsticks prepared for the guests? Baya also thought this sentence was quite funny, so he laughed too. Or are you preparing it for our children? It seems a little early to make it for our children. Gu Lingqing joked. She didn't know whether it was because of the fire or because Baya was shy, but her face was red. She looked very beautiful without any makeup. I'm afraid that I'll lose a pair. We still have a spare pair. Baya explained. And look, the crabs seem to be cooked. Gu Lingqing reminded. Baya used the chopsticks to pick up the crabs. Because the head was too big and asymmetrical, it was a little difficult to pick up the crabs. It turned out that making chopsticks was also a technical work. She finally picked up 2 crabs and put them on the big leaves to cool for a while. Then, she used a dagger to cut the bamboo to improve the size of her chopsticks. She ground the 2 sides of the chopsticks so that the chopsticks could be combined. Then, she slowly shrunk the 2 ends so that it would be easier to pick up the crabs. Eat it first. Is it delicious? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya broke open the crabs and drank the gravy inside. It was salty and very delicious. She gave a thumbs up. It's very delicious, but I'm worried that we won't have enough fresh water. Don't worry. We have a pot in seawater. We can still make distilled water. We can also look for fresh water when we go out to look for wild vegetables tomorrow morning. When we're free, we can dig a few ponds to store water. Gu Lingqing said. We have bamboo shoots in the morning. It's wild pork stew with bamboo shoots. Let's go out after breakfast. As Baya spoke, she peeled a crab foot and put it in front of Gu Lingqing's mouth. Don't peel it for me. Eat it yourself. Gu Lingqing felt sorry for her hands. Then don't cook first. Eat a crab. There are so many here. We can't finish it. Gu Lingqing looked at the time. She washed her hands with seawater and sat next to Baya to eat the crab. Baya listened to the whistling sea breeze and the sound of the waves hitting the rocks. If she thought of it as a holiday instead of being stranded on a deserted island, it felt pretty good. Gu Lingqing ate a crab and started to make a ladder. Baya ate too. She broke the abalone and cut it into thin slices. She put it in the pot and scalded it. Then she put it in her mouth. It was very delicious. Try this. Baya picked up a small piece and scalded it in the pot. Then she handed it to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing ate it. It's really not bad. I guess the chef in the restaurant can only cook like this. The difference is that what we eat is the freshest. Yes. You can't buy the freshest. She and Gu Lingqing ate the abalone. Baya also cut the sea cucumber into thin slices. Did you notice that abalone and sea cucumber taste almost the same? Just like all kinds of shellfish, they taste almost the same. Baya asked. There are still some differences. For example, the meat of scallops is cylindrical. When you eat it, it tastes more chewy. Oysters are soft, like a piece of fat that will melt in your mouth. As for clams, they are bigger and have more edible parts. Chapter 302. They were eating, chatting, and working at the same time. Before they knew it, it was already 11:15 at night. Gu Lingqing finished climbing the ladder. Baya glanced at the direction of the bed. It was very dark inside. It looked bottomless, as if it was filled with unknown terrifying power. It's very dark, Baya said worriedly. Don't worry. Gu Lingqing poured lard on the thicker rope that Baya made, tied it to a wooden stick, and put it on the fire. A torch was soon made. He carried the ladder and walked in the front, holding a kitchen knife in the other hand. Baya held the torch in one hand, and their parasol in the other. He went back to their bed. Previously, Gu Lingqing had cut a path that was 1 meter wide and 10 meters long. The ground was clean and tidy. First, if they saw a wild animal, they could climb to the bed as fast as possible. Second, if there was a boat passing by, they could also see it. Thirdly, they had to avoid starting a fire if they were carrying a torch. When they reached the bed, Gu Lingqing first tried the chair. It was very solid. He put the parasol on it and looked at the pork on the bed. He was not used to sleeping with pork in his arms. Xiaoya, we need to go back to the beach and hide our pork under the stone house, Gu Lingqing said. Yes, not only that, I think we should move some stones here and make a fire here. Otherwise, the torch won't be easy to fix. Besides, I'm afraid the torch won't last until dawn. I'm afraid of the dark, Baiye said apologetically. Okay, let's go, Gu Lingqing answered without hesitation. He led the pork down. They returned to the beach. Fortunately, Baiye had moved a lot of stones here, so it didn't take long to make a stone house. They carried a lot of stones back to the bed and formed a circle. Fortunately, there was enough bamboo. They lit the fire again and lay on the bed. It was already 1 o'clock in the morning. But Baiye still couldn't sleep. She heard the sizzling sound of the fire mixed with the sound of insects. When she opened her eyes, she saw the darkness around her. She felt that there were eyes watching them in the dark. In a daze, worried and scared, she even got up to stoke the fire 5 or 6 times. She only fell asleep when the sky was just beginning to brighten. After a long time she woke up. Seeing that Gu Lingqing was not beside her, she panicked and ran to the beach, shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? Gu Lingqing? She ran to the beach and smelled the aroma of pork and bamboo shoots. Gu Lingqing had raised a stone and a pot of pork and bamboo shoots was boiling on it. Beside the stone house, there were 24 bamboo, some cellulosic trunks and leaves. But there was no sign of Gu Lingqing. Was Gu Lingqing? Baiye shouted. She looked around, but there was still no sign of Gu Lingqing. She ran towards the small bamboo forest that she had been to yesterday. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing coming over with bamboo on his shoulders. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing carrying bamboo on his shoulders. Gu Lingqing was sweating profusely, but his tone was gentle. You're awake. If you wake up and see that I'm not here, stay on the tree. It's too dangerous. Why didn't you wake me up? You've been busy the whole morning, haven't you? Baiye looked at Gu Lingqing with heartache. Gu Lingqing put 2 pieces of tree bark on his shoulders to reduce the friction of the bamboo on his shoulders. This man was very smart. He was very adaptable in the wild. You didn't sleep last night, right? I didn't have the heart to wake you up. Today, I used these bamboos to seal up the place where we sleep, so you won't feel afraid. Gu Lingqing looked at her tenderly and said with a smile. That smile was too beautiful. She didn't dare to look at it. She was afraid that if she looked at it too long, she wouldn't want to die. She lowered her eyes. Thank you. You're my woman. It's my duty to take care of you, Gu Lingqing said naturally. Baiye looked at him. Let me help you carry too. It's okay. You'll have to weave a lot of ropes later and deal with the pork from yesterday. You'll be busy. Gu Lingqing didn't want her to do any heavy work. They returned to the stone house. Gu Lingqing cut a bamboo in half and carried it to the bed. He compared it to the sun and came back with the umbrella. Baiye cut a bamboo in half and made it into a simple bowl. She put some bamboo shoots and pork into soup and put it aside to cool. Gu Lingqing held the umbrella and said, I compared it. Our wooden bed is 1.6 meters wide. The diameter of the thick end is about 16 centimeters, and the thin end is about 10 centimeters. So, we'll use 11 thick parts for the width of the bed. The bed is 1.8 meters long, so we'll use 19 thin parts. There's a total of 30 bamboos here. They're 10 meters long. We can also split the bamboos and use them. Won't you cut too much? Baiye asked in confusion. The place we live in needs to be sturdy. We'll use the whole bamboo. We'll build a house on this beach to put our ingredients or a place to rest. That way we won't have to worry about the rain, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiye nodded. It was definitely a good idea to prepare for a rainy day. She passed the bowl to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing took it. She started eating too. The wild boar was natural. It didn't grow up on fodder. The bamboo shoots didn't have any pesticides or growth hormones. It was especially delicious. Gu Lingqing came out early in the morning to stew the pork. It was already 12:15 a.m. The pork was stewed very soft and tender. It melted in the mouth. It's delicious. Baiye couldn't help but exclaim. Gu Lingqing smiled dotingly. Eat more if it's delicious. You're too skinny. I haven't gained weight in the past 27 years. If I get fat on a deserted island, it'll be a joke, Baya teased herself. There's a lot of resources here. There's a lot of seafood and game. It's all natural. There's no one fighting with us for food. I think we'll really get fat. Het, don't look down on me if I get fat. Baya went along with his topic and joked. Your position in my heart will be proportional to the increase of your weight, Gu Lingqing said with a deadpan expression. Baya smiled. Then how light is my position in your heart now? It means that you still have a lot of potential. Oh, Baya replied. She lowered her head and ate the wild boar meat stew with bamboo shoots. Gu Lingqing heard the disappointment in her tone. He guessed that the joke was over. He asked carefully, Are you angry? Baya shook her head. No, I want to eat as much as possible. I don't want it to affect my weight gain. Gu Lingqing smiled. Don't worry. Even if you don't gain weight, your position in my heart is already not light. She knew that. She took the bowl from his hand, scooped another bowl and passed it to him. You happen to not be heavy in my heart. Eat more, dear. Chapter 303. That's not what she meant by kiss. Gu Lingqing did it on purpose. She didn't want to answer him. Let's hurry up. It'll be terrible if it rains tonight. Gu Lingqing nodded and said thoughtfully, It's good if it rains. There's no fresh water, and we can have a good rest. Didn't you say you were very tired before? Baya's face became hot. He wanted to have sex with her before, but she said she was tired and refused. She cleared her throat. Stop joking. Eat more quickly. You work a lot. If you don't eat more, you'll lose weight. Then, you'll be less important in my heart. Baya stopped this topic. Gu Lingqing scratched her nose. He knew that Baya was thin-skinned, so he didn't tease her. He ate. After eating, Baya went to wash the dishes. Gu Lingqing cut the bamboo into 2 sections that were 3.5 meters long and dug a hole. After digging about 2 meters, he saw the soil. He dug another 50 centimeters into the soil and inserted the bamboo into it. Then he covered it with soil and stepped on it firmly. Then he filled it with sand again. In this way the 1.5 meter long bamboo trunk was exposed. Baya came back after washing the dishes and helped Gu Lingqing. At a place about 1.2 meters away from Gu Lingqing's bamboo trunk, Baya also dug a hole. Gu Lingqing finished his side and took over Baya's work. He said, Leave this rough work to me. You go and weave the rope. The more the better. The stronger the rope, the better. Okay. Baya sat under the parasol to weave the rope. She drank a big mouthful of water and found that there were only 4 bottles of mineral water. Gu Lingqing finished the bamboo trunk and walked over. He took the bottle from Baya's hand and drank it. Gu Lingqing, our fresh water may be finished today. Baya reminded him. Don't worry, I'll come over right now. Gu Lingqing took out the simple distilled water bottle that he had made on the sea before, and broke the middle of the distilled water bottle with a piece of bamboo. He clamped the middle of the bottle filled with seawater, and placed it 5 centimeters away from the fire. Keep an eye on the amount of seawater in the mineral water. It can't be too little. If it's too little, the bottle will be set on fire, Gu Lingqing reminded. I understand. Baya nodded. While weaving the rope, she looked at the mineral water bottle on the fire. Gu Lingqing cut a small hole at the top of the 1.5 meter long bamboo pole, inserted the rope into the hole, and then wound it around the bamboo pole, forming a dead knot. You can hang the meat now. It's done here too. Baya took down the bamboo pole with the mineral water bottle. Don't touch it yet. It's very hot. Put it aside and let it cool, Gu Lingqing reminded. Baya looked at the inside of the mineral water bottle. It was very fast to make distilled water in this way. The inverted 1/3 of the mineral water bottle was already 2/3 full. Although the process of making water was more troublesome, she was not afraid of running out of water. While she was cooling the mineral water bottle, she went to deal with the pork. She pierced a hole in the pork leg with a dagger, threaded the rope into it, and hung it on the clothesline. Gu Lingqing didn't continue to cut the bamboo. Instead, he took out the fishing net and used the rope to surround it, making it into the shape of a pocket. Baya continued to weave the rope. I'll put the fishing net at the bottom of the sea, and come out like this in 10 minutes. Put the gun on you to protect yourself, Gu Lingqing said. Okay, be careful, Baya said. Gu Lingqing nodded. He moved a big stone and put it in the fishing net, and then put a piece of pork rib in the fishing net. He didn't take off his clothes and went into the sea with the fishing net. Baya poured out the distilled water, continued to make distilled water, and weaved the rope. About 8 minutes later, Gu Lingqing came out of the sea. He took off his coat and pants, and hung them on the clothesline, revealing his strong chest and 8 chocolate-like abdominal muscles. She felt that he seemed to be stronger than before. Gu Lingqing looked at her. She cleared her throat. Do you want to eat fish tonight? We might not even finish this pot of pork stewed with bamboo shoots. I'll fix up our small house first. If there's time, I want to dig a pond and pour the seawater into it. We can raise fish or something. Gu Lingqing let his mind wander. There's no need to raise fish. You can catch fish every day. If you can't finish them, I can wash them, dry them, and store them, Baya suggested. That's good. Anyway, there should be fresh fish every day. Tomorrow, we'll go to the forest to find some plants to remove the smell, Gu Lingqing said and began to cut the bamboo. Do you know them? Are there many plants in the forest that are poisonous? Baya did not know them, so she asked worriedly. When we carried out missions in the forest before, we didn't bring any rations with us. We got the materials locally, and there were experts following us. So, I know what we can eat and what we can't eat. Don't worry. Gu Lingqing comforted her. Baya chuckled. I have a feeling that I'll be able to live well if I follow you. So you have to follow me, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baya's eyes flashed and she nodded. I'll follow you for as long as I'm alive. Silly girl. Gu Lingqing said lovingly. The smile on his face was indeed happy, relaxed, and joyful. He cut the tree into 5-meter-long pieces, put the thick pieces together, and put the thin pieces together. He began to tie them. When he was done, for hours had passed. Baya made a lot of ropes, and in 4 hours he made 3 bottles of distilled water. She felt uncomfortable in her stomach. She had a bad feeling. In the past, her period had always been irregular. It would come once every 2 to 3 months, and it would hurt badly every time. She might have her period soon, and there were no sanitary products here. She thought of many ways, such as using leaves or ropes to weave. The ancient people seemed to have used charcoal ash, which could absorb water. What are you weaving? Gu Lingqing walked over. Baya blushed. Some necessities. Come over and take a look at our hut, Gu Lingqing said. Then he turned around and walked towards the hut. Baya held Gu Lingqing's hand and realized that something was wrong. She opened his palm, and it was full of blisters. Some of them were already broken. You can't work anymore today. They're all broken. Don't you want your hand anymore? Baya said worriedly. Don't worry. It's like this because I haven't worked for a long time. In the future, these blisters will have calluses. If I work again, it won't hurt anymore. Gu Lingqing smiled and comforted him. Then let's wait for the blisters to subside before we work again. What if my hand has a fever? There's no hospital here. Anyway, you're not allowed to work today. Tomorrow we'll go to the mountains to find some wild vegetables, pork, and seafood. We can eat it for more than 10 days. Baya's heart ached. She blew on his palm. Gu Lingqing gazed at her. As long as he was with her, this pain was sweet in his heart. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.